Welcome back to Macrodosing. It is Thursday. It's October 27th. Spooky season. The Halloween episode.
It's absolute bullshit. None of you guys dressed up like we said we were going to.
We're all dressed
You're
up.
the only
right
one that said you were going to do that.
Seriously, play the tape back. We said, should we dress up on the Monday we record, which is Halloween? And then you guys were like, no, the Halloween episode is Thursday. Let's dress up on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm dressed up as, I'm going as PFT. Actually, you know what I'm doing right now? Hang on. I'm going as Mad Dog from 2 years ago on Halloween, for Halloween right now.
I don't know what you said. I for sure never said I was dressing up. I may have explicitly said I was not.
Yeah, I can't see Big T being a dress up guy.
Yeah, you're a Tennessee fan.
Not since like 2007.
You dress up as Big T.
That's no fun.
Every single day you put on that costume and you come to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Billy, you look great. You're
Thank
dressed
you.
up as a Scottish Highlander.
I'm a Highlander.
How old?
Scotland.
What?
That wasn't bad.
I think some adults like go back into dressing up, which I'll reserve my thoughts on. But as a kid, what is the cutoff? Like, how old is too old to go trick or treating?
You can go trick or treating if you have like a younger sibling. You can keep that up until, I don't know,
It's when the parties start.
17. Yeah.
17?
If you have a younger sibling that you're going with, yeah.
When you're like chasing girls, that's when it stops.
So both of y'all agree that even at like 15?
Yeah.
That's
No,
crazy.
weird.
That's outrageous.
weird.
I think I stopped definitely before high school. I would say I think I went in 7th grade. No, I don't. I think I went
Middle
in,
school is where it stops.
I think I went in 6th grade, which was elementary school, and then middle school. I think we had a Halloween dance.
Yeah, when the dances
and then
start.
and then
Well,
I
you
went
just
to
told me
Halloween dance.
17.
If you have like a younger sibling that you're taking, yeah.
Bro,
That's different.
I might put out candy this year because
Me
it's a
too.
Monday.
That's-
It's like I pay my own rent now. I can put out candy. Like that's kind of big.
It's that's gonna be tough because like in New York, I try to be festive sometimes, and I try to do the thing where I go out and buy a bunch of candy. I'm ready for the little kids to come to my door, and I'm ready to see costumes and stuff, and to like, you know, get into the Halloween spirit. And then every single year, it's like, oh yeah, you live in an apartment, and so kids don't go door to door in apartments.
They do. They absolutely do. There's a sign up, and actually, if you can get into one of those buildings, if you know someone who lives in one of the apartment buildings, there's a sign up list. And you get the most candy because then if you have a friend group that all live in different apartment buildings, you all hit the apartments, get the list of the exact floors and doors that sign up to be on that list, and then you just hit 5 apartment buildings, and you're making out like bandits with trash bags full of candy.
So this is like when you were a kid, you would have organizational meetings. It was like you were planning.
Yeah,
you were planning like a Navy SEAL operation.
Oh, we absolutely were. And
Optimizing which doors you would go to.
Sometimes we were dressed
high
up
value
as
targets.
soldiers. Yeah.
They've got Milky Way darks. We're gonna ingress on their door.
We also had
at
to
0600.
we also had to calculate the hours of trick or treating time. Like I don't know if your building has it, but sometimes you can sign up for those sign up lists, and then they say, okay,
We don't.
the commenter household is giving out candy. But anyway,
We don't have that. So I just
you definitely do. Every building has it.
I swear to God, the first 3 Halloweens that I lived in New York, I went out. I bought the giant thing of candy. I was going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be the cool neighbor that gives out, you know, like 2 handfuls of candy to every kid that comes by. And then maybe 1 kid came by each year. And then I just end up having a shitload of candy.
Well, I have a little bit of a different living scenario, not an apartment building, so I'm gonna be handing out full candy bars.
There were 2 like massive houses growing up that we would go to. There's one guy, rest in peace, his name's the Candy Man. They actually named the street after him, the one that he lived on. He worked at one of the factories. I forget what candy they made, but he always had the king size bars. He was giving out the best. And then she was my old math teacher, but her husband worked for Entenmann's, and she'd give out full boxes of donuts.
Oh, that's
Wow.
dope.
Yeah, the whole street was like mayhem because everybody knew that was the Candyman street.
What a legend.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they named the street after him, no joke.
Like really name the street after him.
Yeah,
Or is that just what the kids call it?
No, I'll send a picture.
That is so cool. To be so good at Halloween that you get a street named after you.
Yeah, sick.
That is sick.
Did they have kids?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
I found that the people with the best houses were with people without kids, and they'd go extra hard, and they didn't know the consequences of giving kids that
Yeah.
much candy. So they'd like be handing out so much candy.
Yeah.
I feel like you would be really good at Halloween PFT.
Me?
Like, or like giving out candy.
I'm very
Generous.
Yeah, generous. I go double scoop, 2 handfuls if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get some looks from the parents like they don't need all that, please. I'm like, well, that's your problem.
Yeah, I feel like you would be really good.
I do. I also like to hand them apples that have tiny, tiny little cuts in them, and then I hand out like off-brand sweet tart packages as well.
Wait, what?
What's with the
No,
apples?
I don't do that. I'm just saying, like every year there's a big scare.
Yeah.
There's been scares.
Actually,
Anytime you see somebody on the news being like, yeah, they're handing out fentanyl and Halloween candy or anything like that, or they're just trying to scare you into watching the news. They said this all the way back to like the 60s. That
So
people
And
were
those
putting-
stories run on October 18th before anyone has handed out anything for Halloween.
Yeah, they go all the way back to like the 60s when neighbors used to like, watch out, they're putting razor blades into the apples. So when you bite into them, you're going to cut. That never
so
happened.
later when we get into more of the facts, there's a whole socioeconomic reason behind those stories. Actually kind of interesting.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
a good teaser, Billy.
Yeah, so when we get into it, and there are
I'm
some
actually giving out fentanyl though. So this year it's real.
I just realized that people actually, I figured this out recently, people actually do fentanyl. Like it's not, some people do it on purpose,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like
No, they do it on
people
purpose.
doing it on accident.
No, they do it on purpose. I read a very interesting article on somebody's Substack. I subscribed to a Substack for the first time yesterday. They got me so good.
That's maybe the most liberal thing you've ever said.
There's actually
What?
tons
You
of
subscribe to a Substack.
there's
Why is that
tons of
liberal?
conservative
That's just-
Substacks. Actually,
There are actually, but
There's-
that just seems like I don't know. It was a joke. Just tell your story.
Actually,
Okay, no, I'm just
there's
curious why it was liberal.
no, there's a group.
That is a predominantly left leaning.
I don't
it's not.
think so.
It's actually having trouble right now because a lot of they're having trouble with a lot of the super far right wing stuff that's being published there. But besides that, there's actually a bunch of like bodybuilders who use Substack. They're all under this like bow-tied ox, bow-tied bull. They're like doing informational Substacks, and they're like pretty. There's some pretty interesting dudes who have Substack that aren't super left wing, but these guys are telling you how to get jacked and make money. It's like I haven't gone there yet to like subscribe, but I really want to because some of these guys are like they're like you got to get on TRT at the age of 25 or you're you're screwed.
Substack is like it's OnlyFans but for words.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool.
I just searched Substack on Twitter and I found one woman who said, I just got word that I have my first paid subscriber on Substack. They paid $70 for a year. If I subscribed to someone and found out that I was the only person paying for it and I paid them $70,
I'm out.
I'd be upset with myself.
What's that person's name?
Courtney Shimbry Gray,
Courtney Shimby. I might sign up for a Substack.
author of The Maggot on Maple Street.
No.
Mhm.
Sounds no. Immediately I can tell I'm not going to like her Substack. So, I subscribed to this person's Substack because they were writing an article about how fentanyl gets into cocaine. And that's a really interesting topic because I've always wondered that too with all the accidental cocaine overdoses that we see, where it's fentanyl that's mixed in and people end up, going to the hospital or worse or dying.
yeah. There's a bunch recently. So.
Yeah, so there was an article in the Wall Street Journal a couple days ago about 3 people in New York that died, I think, on the same day from the same dealer.
It was like some sort of mail order, the same type that got Nick Kroll's cousin, who was a co-founder of Twitter. Did you see that?
Yeah, so what the article was, they dove into the trial, into the delivery service, and in New York City, these people were just texting somebody, and then somebody would show up at their apartment and then just give them coke. And so they were like, hey, can you deliver this to me? And they showed up, got the coke, and then a couple hours later, somebody let the coke dealer know, like, hey, the package that you just got, it's got some fucked up stuff in it. You got to tell people that just bought it from you not to take it. So then the dealer, there's all these like phone records. The dealer started texting everybody that they just sold the coke to, trying to call them, being like, hey, call me back, please call me back. And 3 people had died from doing it. What they thought was just coke. And it poses an interesting question in the article because I've always wondered, what's the purpose of putting fentanyl into coke if you're a coke dealer? It doesn't make any sense because it hits you. I guess fentanyl is a downer, So it would hit you in a way that just doesn't make you feel like you're doing cocaine at all. It'd make you feel really bad, even if you didn't have like an adverse medical reaction to it. And it would kill your users. So it's killing your customers. Why would you put that in there? So they tried to answer this question, and what they came up with was there's a surplus of fentanyl being produced, like overseas in China.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fentanyl that's just being made, and they sell a lot of it to drug dealers, and drug dealers, when they're putting the shit together, sometimes they accidentally think that it's coke and they mix it with another batch, thinking that they're just mixing coke together.
So we actually talked a lot about this on the drug smuggling episode when you were away in China. It's the way they smuggle. China produces tons of medical, like pharmaceutical based drugs, like stuff that's needed to make other drugs. And shipping drugs from China is actually very easy, because only 5% of any of those shipping containers get inspected.
Yeah.
And if they were to actually inspect as many containers as they could, it would totally shut down the supply chain. So it's pretty easy to smuggle stuff from China.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chinese are just producing tons of fentanyl and selling it to the US because they know that it's going to get through and it's going to get used, and it's become very profitable. And the people who produce the fentanyl, it's a totally legal enterprise in China. And there was like an interview with them. They said, like, you know, if our fentanyl is being used in the US illegally, like, that's not our problem. Like, marijuana is legal in the US. Like, that's why people are getting addicted. And then they sometimes cite the opium wars as like, like, why should, like, you know, opioids have been used against us as a weapon. Why should we care if opioids are getting used recreationally in the US and killing people?
Yeah.
It's like it was a whole ordeal. But yeah, the fentanyl and also it's easier to smuggle because, you know, like a pound of heroin has the equivalent dosage to like a very minuscule amount of fentanyl.
Yep.
Like, it's crazy. If there's some photos online of the different types of fentanyl, carfentanil, Oxycontin, heroin comparatively to dosage, and it's like 1 grain of fentanyl is like an overdose level compared to like a whole big vial of heroin. It's like super scary. So the drug dealers just mixing it in because they think it's coke.
Yeah, and so it happens up the chain. It happens usually the people that buy the fentanyl directly from China, as they're preparing the coke to like be packaged, they put it into like a giant pile, and sometimes one of the things that they add to that pile is accidentally fentanyl, and then from that pile they separate out into smaller bags, and then they ship that out. That's what can happen sometimes. Otherwise, it's like unlikely cross-contamination, but there's really no reason why a drug dealer... It's usually not the person that sells you the coke. They don't do that. Like the drug dealer themselves, they don't mix the fentanyl with the cocaine. It's usually the person that's at least 1, if not 2 steps above them in the distribution process that does it.
Well, I mean, it's hard to sympathize with the drug dealer, but like, imagine the anxiety attack that drug dealer was having.
Yeah, like I killed 3 people.
Yeah. I mean, I know they're selling drugs, but like...
Yeah, but they weren't trying to kill anybody.
I mean, in Ozarks, like the rival cartels were poisoning the others. I think there's some of that too.
That's another possibility. That if they're trying to like hit somebody in the business.
If I was the cartel, this isn't good for your business, for your coke business. I would start, you know, really trying to make sure that the coke's pure, and like go down the chain and figure that out.
Yeah, I agree, Billy. Yeah, if I was the cartel, I would go over to China and start asking some very difficult questions.
Cartel, if you need a strategist, my consulting fees are pretty high, but I think you can pay them.
You want to consult for the cartel?
I'll consult for the cartel. Like, you know, I charge what's a good price? $10K an hour.
There you go, 10,000 an hour.
Yeah, that's my price for consulting.
Hire Billy.
But this is why The Economist they were writing an article about like legalizing cocaine, and they're like saying that Joe Biden should legalize cocaine, and everyone was trolling them because like this very high esteemed magazine, The Economist, was saying that basically Joe Biden should legalize cocaine to help get esteem with the left, and then also solve a lot of the political crime violence south of the border, and also create a market for clean cocaine that would prevent these overdoses. But like, you know, I wrote a rebuttal to it in a blog that never got posted because Nate never posted it, where I said basically it would end up with kids using street cocaine, which is probably laced because it's more acceptable to do cocaine. Like, the legal market for marijuana has never gone away, even though it's been legalized.
That's true.
So what's going to happen is you're going to have people using cocaine like recreationally regularly because it's legal, and then it's going to be the trickle down effect to the kids, like, oh, I want to do cocaine to be cool, it's legal, it's fine. And then the street cocaine still has the fentanyl in it and they die.
What was the title of the blog in which you were talking about kids doing cocaine?
I was saying kids shouldn't do cocaine, Big T.
Okay, good.
Oh, do you want to read it?
Yeah.
I think it's
is
it's
it still in
yeah.
pending?
Ooh, I like this. I like this segment. Too hot for the blog.
Yeah, it's too
New
hot for
segment.
the
Yeah,
blog.
read it on here.
This is
Yeah, I
all the
will.
shit that they don't want you to read on Barstool Sports.
The Economist wants to legalize cocaine.
So yeah, let's get to Billy's. This is
Yeah.
real uncut shit. A little bit of fentanyl in it, maybe.
These dudes, the Economists, really love cocaine. Let me see. I talked about how it would be going back to the time.
No, just read the article.
Just read it.
Just
read
read
it?
it. This is
How many
been
words
banned.
is it?
Okay. Well, basically, there's quotation from the Economist article. Obviously, some would find legalization would defang the gangs. Obviously, some would find other revenues with the lost cocaine profits would help curb their power to recruit, buy top-end weapons, and corrupt officials. This would reduce drug-related violence everywhere, but most of all, the worst affected region, Latin America. If cocaine were legal, more people would take it. For some, this would be a choice. Snorting a substance they know is unhealthy because it gives them pleasure, but cocaine is addictive. A paucity of research makes it hard to know how it compares with alcohol or tobaccos on this score. More studies needed as we are greater efforts to treat addiction. This would be funded and then some by the money saved if the war were wound down. In private, many officials understand that the prohibition is not working any more than it did in Al Capone's day. Just now, full legalization seems politically impossible. Few politicians want to be called soft on drugs, but proponents must keep pressing their case. The benefits, safer cocaine, safer streets, and greater political stability in the Americas far outweigh the costs. Well, it seems like the writers over there at The Economist are trying to help Biden gain some popularity in a last-ditch effort. These dudes want to bring us back to the days where cocaine was legal. Back in the good old days, cocaine was in everything. Headaches, cocaine. Toothache, cocaine. Drowsiness, cocaine. Then I put in an ad of Coca-Cola from 1908. When
I
it had cocaine in it.
really want to try some original recipe Coca-Cola.
Well, the coca leaf is like used all the time in Peru for
Yeah.
I bet it
altitude
hit.
sickness.
altitude sickness. Yeah.
I bet that Coke hit.
Oh, I bet it did. I bet that was the
In
best
the
Coke.
8-ounce glass bottle too.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
imagine you're sitting like in Atlanta, like on a hot day, and you get a glass bottle of Coke, like from a Coke guy who brings
Yeah.
it in a box.
No, you walk into the malt shop
Yeah.
and you sit down. You're sweaty. There's no air conditioning, but
Feeling a little
somehow,
tired. Feeling a little tired.
yeah. Your day is going on a little bit too long.
You had a manual labor job.
Your wife and 14 kids are yelling at you.
Yeah.
Your kids are probably with you. They just got out of the factory
Yeah.
themselves.
You know,
Put in a long shift.
yeah, the garment factory, their little fingers are pricked with needles.
That would actually be hilarious. I bet there'd be like all these little kids getting out. They just made it like a 10,000 shirts at the Hanes Company, and instead of like hitting the bar for happy hour after work, all the malt shops were just packed with like
Head onto the soda fountain.
yeah, like 7-year-olds just walking in, putting their $2 down on the counter, be like, "Don't stop, don't let my glass get empty." until this is gone."
$2 would get
They
you
put that at a dime.
75 Cokes.
Yeah,
They're-
overdose.
You know, there's a place on the Upper East Side that still like puts the
It still hand mixes
seltzer
their
water
Coke.
and the syrup. I've heard it sucks though.
I bet it does.
People on
Yeah.
TikTok have gone there like, this is actually terrible.
Well,
Yeah, I
it
bet-
sucks because the cocaine is in it.
I bet it's great for Instagram.
Yeah.
It is. I found it on TikTok.
Well, you can
Uh-huh.
buy like all the soda fountains, like that goo, that liquid, that the syrup.
Yeah.
I mean, that's supposed to be like put into a machine, like
Yeah, Soda
hand
Stream.
mixing it. Yeah. Is it actual Coke or is it like a different type of off-brand?
No, it's the Coca-Cola syrup.
Yeah,
And
that's-
they pour the soda water and then they put that in there and mix it.
Yeah, that original Coke would have been real nice.
Back to the blog. Coca-Cola.
Wait, hang on. I want to talk more about how we should do
I'm talking about Coca-Cola more in this blog. I think
Frank the Tank doing a soda review of original recipe Coke would
That-
be incredible.
that would
He would have a heart
And,
attack.
yeah,
He would go fucking nuts.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. I mean, that would not be good.
Hey, Craig Kimbrell! What do you think Frank would
I
say?
love cocaine.
He would Frank would probably stroke out within like 10 seconds of. What if he just chugged an original recipe like heavy cocaine laced Coca-Cola? His dying words would probably be Buster Only.
Do you think there's, there's honestly probably someone online.
Buster Only's dancing.
There's probably someone like on the Silk Road or like on the dark web who's selling original.
I was actually
recipe
going to ask, do
cocaine.
you think someone in America still has one somewhere from their great grandma or something?
Oh, wait, don't they have, I mean, I think it's like evaporated, but I think there is like an original. Well, while we're looking for that, Coca-Cola, one of the great American brands, was founded on the magic of the white powder from the cacao plant. These so-called intellectuals over at The Economist think that if we legalized cocaine, we would stabilize south of the border, generate tax revenue that will get us out of a recession, and prevent drug overdoses caused by laced drugs. I would never expect people who love cocaine could possibly generate such ingenious ideas to get a substance they love so much legalized. They are literally sitting over there trying to get Biden reelected while doing cocaine. And they're like, what if we get Biden to legalize cocaine? He would definitely get reelected and we would get amazing cocaine. It's a no-brainer for everyone except family members who will have to deal with addiction. But don't worry, that's just worth the cost of stopping the drug war and saving our economy. Also, no one has ever overdosed on just cocaine, right? They have.
Yes.
Can't believe that didn't get posted.
I think your bias is showing on that one, Billy.
Really? Okay. We should legalize hitmen while we are at it and tax them because they get the economic benefits. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Just legalize everything. I think maybe this country, maybe legalizing cocaine would solve a lot of problems that we have.
No.
I think it would solve more problems than it would
Guess
create.
who's
Elaborate on that.
Wait, no, this is the part that where it
People,
doesn't
no
help.
one wants to work right now. If you did cocaine, people would like work ethic off the charts.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, no, people
They
would
start
be.
freebasing it.
We would have so many new businesses that started up and lasted like 2 days. That's what the real upshot in the economy.
But
is.
That's notably good for the economy.
And people would be like, okay, all right, so they're blankets, but they're specifically made for dogs. They're dog-sized blankets because the blankets that I have at my house are way too big, and my little cute dog, it gets lost in these blankets. So I think that we should make small dog-sized blankets for my dog, and then we can name them after my dog, and all the blankets will have a picture of my dog on it because it's named after my dog, because I invented these blankets because my dog gets lost in the blankets. So we're doing a dog blanket company. And then the next day they wake up after getting their loan, they're like, oh, fuck. I don't really want to do this.
Well,
dog
yeah, that's the
blanket
problem. Well, think about
company idea
the seed money.
Yeah.
The seed money people would be like, "This is an amazing idea. We're gonna give them money."
Yeah.
And then they're giving everyone money. And
People who are giving out seed money are already doing cocaine.
yes,
Like,
but now
a
they
ton.
get really good cocaine because it's illegal.
No,
Think
they're
about
the
how
ones. They're the ones getting the good cocaine now.
Well, no,
They're
so-
the succession people.
but Nick Kroll's cousin, who's like the head, was like a super fintech guy.
well,
Like
Nick
had
Kroll
tons
is
of
like
money.
a billionaire.
Like
Yeah.
that sort of proves to you, like, yeah, anybody, even if you think you have the best guy who's like Wall Street cocaine, can get you cocaine that kills you.
Yeah. It's scary.
Test your drugs.
Test your drugs, please. If you choose to do drugs, test them.
Or don't do them.
Or just don't do them. That's another good option there, Big T. It would be interesting to see how the world would change, how the United States would change, because I think a lot of people still wouldn't do cocaine even if it was legal. I think some people would do cocaine recreationally once or twice a year in a blue moon that normally don't do it. But I don't necessarily think that it's going to turn the streets into just like
Well,
a bunch of zombies. Although it is, have you guys ever run into somebody in public who's obviously coked out of their minds in the middle of a day?
Oh,
In like the light of day. I'm not talking about at a bar when you see somebody that's just like, can't stop bouncing their knee or whatever. I mean, over the course of a day, when you just interact with somebody at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon that's high as shit off coke.
no.
on a Saturday.
It's wild. It's just, it makes me feel like
Like during a work day.
uncomfortable. Yeah, during the work day. I'm not saying it's not anyone in this office that I'm talking about, but it's happened to me at past jobs that I've had.
Really?
And you feel like for a second you feel like you're the crazy person, and then they leave and they walk out of the room and you just look around like, is anybody else just absorbing anything this guy say? Anyways, it's happened to me like several times. It's just a wild situation.
Honestly,
when it does happen.
the widespread use of Adderall in my generation, there's a lot of people who think cocaine is mid compared to Adderall.
Yeah.
There,
Oh, what?
Yeah.
no, seriously.
Some people do it because Adderall, it lasts longer.
And it's usually better sourced.
Well, yeah.
But here's the last line of my blog.
Close it out.
Yeah, call me old fashioned. I don't want kids doing cocaine. And let's not pretend we don't really know how addicting cocaine is. It's as addicting as cocaine. It's just crazy that a Barstool sports blogger is thinking of this while The Economist is not. But whatever. Think about how much economic growth the new rehab facilities needing to be built will bring. Why don't we start investing now? Yeah, that's
Mic
the last
drop.
line. Then I tried to put out a legalizing cocaine shirt. It's economical in the Economist format, but that really caused an uproar.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm going to submit it for review
sorry.
again.
I'm sorry to hear that it caused it. Well, no, Nate's not going to publish it, man. Nate's going to text me.
Nate hasn't showed up to work in a week after I've been asking to meet with him in person at work.
All right, this is not going to turn into the Nate bitch
No.
party hour.
You know what I was thinking
No,
about
just
yesterday?
Cut that. Cut
No. You know what I was thinking about yesterday? Beats by Dre just fell off of the planet of the Earth. Remember how big they were?
No, they got bought by Apple.
I know, but what I'm saying is like
Dr.
everybody
Dre got
wanted.
$1 billion, yeah.
I know they like obviously made a shit ton of money, but when I was in high school, everybody wanted Beats headphones. Now
Yeah.
it's just like I don't see them anywhere.
The only time I hear about Beats headphones is when an athlete buys Beats headphones
for the whole team.
for the whole team or for like a high school team or something like that. And they're usually sponsored by Beats headphones. So they just give them all the headphones.
Right.
I
Like,
think
they were-
AirPods kind of just took over the whole market.
100%.
Swagger
Like,
Jack. them.
Honestly,
Yeah.
you know when it stopped becoming cool? There was a time when you could buy a new laptop for college. And if you bought that laptop, it automatically came with Beats. And then Beats became so widespread, they weren't cool
They
anymore.
lost the
And
exclusiveness.
then AirPods came out, less bulky, little things. No one, and now everyone's wearing AirPods. And like even kids playing pickup basketball are like, so when I was playing pickup basketball over the summer, there'd just be like younger kids, like high school kids, and they'd like be trying to play in the pickup games and they just have an AirPod in. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, what if like I need to tell you where a screen's coming and you can't hear me because you have your like AirPod in playing music?
But they listen to music
They're
while they play?
listening to music while they're playing basketball.
I'll bet they're really good, though. I bet
Yeah.
if you're
No,
doing that,
no.
you're probably the best player
No,
on the
no, no.
court.
It's so widespread because they think they're cool, and it's actually making them worse. And it's just like, dude, like, what if, like, I don't want to be responsible if your $200 AirPod falls out of your ear and I step on it.
Obviously, like they were very successful, sold billions of dollars worth of headphones. But yeah, you just don't see them anymore at all.
Because every college kid who got a new MacBook got one.
I remember when they came out with the Beats wireless, and that changed the game for everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody needed them. What was the "You Could Tell Everybody" commercial?
Oh, yeah.
Was that with Kevin Garnett?
I'm the man. That was with Colin Kaepernick. I
Colin
think.
Kaepernick, yeah.
What was the SNL skit? What am I thinking of? There's an SNL skit.
It was a
with
good
that.
one. I know what you're talking
Unfrozen
about.
Caveman Lawyer.
No, it was the I'm the man, and it's like they it's like a Beats commercial. It's like I'm the man, and the guy's like walking, and then there's like a crowd angry at him, and then you realize that he's walking into like an abortion place, and those are protesters for him. It is like a girl's next to him like crying, and he's just like got the headphones.
I would
in.
like to remake those commercials, but just in historical references. So it's like Lee Harvey Oswald walking downstairs at the Texas School Book Depository puts on the "I'm the man, I'm the man."
No, you
Paul
know,
Revere on the horse.
No,
yeah,
no,
Paul Revere.
who's-
You can tell everybody.
when they desegregated the schools.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the kids
in
were walking
Alabama?
in, they were young. That would be pretty cool.
That'd be sick.
Like
Also,
block out the
remember
haters.
that those were the first, like, when those came out, people were like, nobody's ever going to pay $250 for a pair of headphones. Now you can't get a good pair of headphones for less than $250.
Yeah, I'm looking at the prices right now. They dropped down. They're like $150, $100. I kind of miss it when they were $250, $300
Yep.
bucks.
I don't.
Now the AirPod Maxes are $600.
What?
AirPod
That's
Maxes?
outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, now Apple competes with themselves because they have those big ones now.
The over the ear.
I will
or
say,
over-the-head
someone
ones.
who works here has them, and I tried them on one time. You can't hear a thing that's happening outside. It's crazy.
Nah, they're really.
It almost made me want them.
That's kind of nice.
I buy 5 pairs of $20 fake AirPods
At a time.
that are at a time that are basically the same quality as AirPods, and then if I lose them or break them, I don't care
Yeah.
because you're gonna lose them. And Apple,
Counterpoint. I've had these for about, I'd say, close to a year.
yeah, that's ridiculous.
I've had
haven't
my
lost them.
AirPods for 3 years and I haven't lost them.
Well, some people are better at others,
Knock
but
on
like
wood.
Apple created a product that was disposable, and you'd need to get new ones because they were so easy to misplace.
Yeah, that's
Like-
smart.
Like that's their new, and then they make different connectors, so you have to buy new shit.
I got to figure out what I'm getting you guys.
That was the Tim Cook model when like no actual
Yeah,
innovation,
no.
just making people's lives more difficult.
Buying chargers.
Yeah,
Just a
good
ton of-
for Europe for making everyone use the same charger. Like
So-
that is people who care about the
Well,
people
so
in their country.
Did you see the Apple news that came out today?
What?
The USB-C.
They're switching their phones over to USB-C now.
You're joking.
But in
Yeah.
Europe, only
They,
in Europe.
well,
No,
no,
but they-
it's ever because they have to do it for everything.
Oh hell yeah!
They can't just the EU said that they have to, so they're just making all iPhones USB-C,
I'll tell you, they have great consumer protection laws.
which is at least like because right now the Macs are USB-C, the phones are Lightning, iPads are Lightning,
AirPods are lightning.
but the new AirPods are USB-C, I think.
No, I don't think so.
But like either way, they're going back and forth. Like just make it all one thing.
Yeah. So they're going to be USB-C in the near future, is what we're
The
hearing.
the next iPhones.
The next iPhones will.
So like next year.
And then, you know who really gets fucked over with all the changing of the chargers and stuff is hotels. Hotels get so screwed on there. You remember they bought all the alarm clocks that had the old
The iHome.
the iHome system on it that fit the old school
Yeah.
Apple
Yeah,
iPhone and
that's like
iPods.
this wide. Yeah.
And then they changed it up, and they bought all those for like all their rooms, and then Apple changes up the charger like right after that.
That charger was fat. That was a
Yeah.
big plug-in.
And right now they're doing the same thing where they have different chargers that you can have in rooms that fit this thing, and now they're gonna have to get all new. RIP to the hotel industry. That's got to be low-key one of the worst jobs to have. I think is working the front desk at a hotel.
Oh, high key.
Did
High
anyone
key?
else see
Yeah.
Did anyone else see that TikTok that went viral the other day about
Oh,
that?
the guy flipping
No.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like a girl who works at the front desk of a hotel who was recording like a male Karen like going off on her, and he booked a like 2 queen size bed room, didn't want to pay for it like because I guess it was more expensive, canceled that and switched it to like a king and a pull-out couch. Gets there and he was like, oh, but I want a queen, or I want 2 queens, but I paid for the king. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, well, we're sold out and you reserved a king suite, so I have a king suite for you. And he was like, it was like him, his wife, and his 2 kids, and he's like, where the fuck do you want me to put my kids? And she was like, there's a king bed and there's a pull-out couch, like you and your wife can sleep in the king bed and your children can
How-
sleep in the pull-out couch, which was like the move, like that's what you did growing up anyways. And then he was like flipping out at her, and he was like, do you want me to sleep in my car? And she was like, I have a room for you.
yeah.
How do
right
we
here.
know that he didn't reserve 2 queens though?
Because she said she was like, I could look at his data through like booking.com or whatever, and she was like, he had 2 queen beds, it was more expensive, so he canceled it, booked the king suite.
Oh, and then he thought he would just show up and
Yeah.
cause a ruckus
Yeah.
to get, yeah. You know what are sneaky not that bad? Some of like the Motel 6, like they've really upped their game.
Disagree, but
I had to stay at one recently and they really upped their game. Like it was
What do you mean by
Really
up their
nice. Yeah.
game? What is? Because to me, it's very simple. The ingredients to having a good hotel room.
clean sheets.
I need clean sheets.
yeah.
I need a thermometer or a thermostat that goes down to like 64 degrees.
Uh-huh.
And then I need a remote for the TV that has a sleep timer button on it.
Ooh.
And a hot shower. And
I
that's
don't
it.
I don't need very like super nice things for a lot of shit. But the 2 things we've talked about today, I have headphones in 24 hours a day, so I have really good headphones. And then hotels. I have to stay at like a pretty as an adult, like
Your high maintenance tea.
not high maintenance, but like
He needs a
I
robe.
I need a fairly good hotel.
I do. So we've been fortunate enough through working at Barstool where I go on the road a lot, and we usually stay in decent hotels. At the start, we stayed in like the worst places ever. And as we've gotten bigger as a company, now it's like we partner with a lot of hotels. Like we go out to Colorado, and our sports book is in like a resort out there. So they roll out the red carpet for you. But anytime still to this day that I walk into a hotel room that looks like it even has like 2 separate rooms in it, I'm always like, whoa, this is nice. Even if one of the rooms is just like a tiny little kitchenette that has like a half-size fridge in it or whatever, and then the rest of the room are just, there's a small wall with a love seat and a coffee table in the second room. I'm like, whoa, this is really nice. I'm just mesmerized by nice hotel rooms.
You get what you pay for. Hotels and airplanes, spend the money.
What's your least favorite hotel room you've stayed in? Like, have you ever walked into a room and been like, I gotta go?
I'll tell you, one time I went with a friend of mine. He was a big Spurs fan, and the Spurs were playing the Grizzlies in the playoffs. So we drove from Knoxville to Memphis, which is actually very far, like way further than we anticipated. And so we stayed, and then that was like a Friday night. So we were going to go back to Nashville, and we stayed somewhere between Memphis and Nashville, just at like this tiny little shitty hotel. And I remember walking in there, I was like, this is a problem. There were like bugs and stuff. It was terrible. But other than that, I don't think I've like stayed in a bad hotel. That was in college, so like recently.
Best hotel I ever stayed at was Black Rock. That they hooked us up.
Black
there.
Hawk.
No, Black Rock in Colorado.
Yeah.
I thought it was Black Hawk.
No, I think it's Black Rock. It's nice. It's
Or no, I think it actually is Black Hawk.
Black Rock is the financial company.
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
It's like a Ameristar Blackhawk, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, anyways, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a really nice hotel. I walked in there. The hotel's nice when it's got like a jacuzzi bathtub in the bedroom.
Yeah.
like it had a little alcove for the bathtub in the corner with a window looking out over the Rocky Mountains.
I took a fucking bath.
That's cool.
Like, did you use it?
No, I didn't have time.
Well,
I was working.
Well, yeah, but at night
Yeah.
you didn't use it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I did. I almost slept in there.
In the bathtub?
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Could have died.
I do like I like a nice hotel room, but I can deal without a nice hotel room is what I'm saying. I like it, but I don't need it to function on the road. Just give me a clean sheet and give me the sleep timer button on the remote. That's all I ask for.
On spring break once, I stayed in a hostel, and that was pretty grimy. It was like
Speaking of hostel, listen to Eli Roth.
yeah. Oh yeah, we got an interview coming.
We got an interview coming up with Eli Roth. He talks a little bit about Hostel and about his filmmaking. Hostels, they're fun. They're a good time. I stayed in one in Ireland.
My big ask with hotel rooms and anywhere I'm staying in general is I need tons of locks.
How many?
Well, just like we need a heavy lock. We need like a bolt.
You don't like just the door lock and then the rinky-dink chain thing?
No, fuck the chain thing.
Chain sucks.
Never works. That's getting
What about the flip-out metal wedge that it has replaced the chain recently?
Terrible.
yeah.
Where it's just like a triangle, a
No,
metal triangle.
I
you
like
flip out?
that. I like that better than the chain.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I do too because the chain sometimes feels like I could just break it with my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deadbolt. Essential.
I will say something that should be advertised on hotel websites. This would if there were 2 hotels that were pretty similar that I was deciding between, and one said the thermostat goes down to 60, I'm picking that hotel.
Yeah.
I make it Arctic.
Real cool.
Like
So-
you can hang meat in there.
Yes.
What is that about? Because a lot of people like that. I love that. I know
Cold.
a lot of people here at Barstool have talked about that. We love going into hotels and just seeing how low the temperature can get. I love a cold hotel room, but I'm not sure why.
I think it's also partly because, we know you do because different tax bracket, but I don't have central AC in my apartment. So I just have my shitty little air conditioner next to my bed. So when I go somewhere that I can make the whole place just like that,
Yeah.
it's a
Also-
luxury.
Also,
I do also have a window unit because I live in New York City. So
You don't have central air?
I've got 2
he
window
doesn't.
units.
He doesn't actually.
That's crazy.
I live in a-
chirped him
I
once
live in
about
That's
that.
crazy.
I live in
bro.
a high crime neighborhood. We discussed this.
Everybody in
Lot of
here's a cold.
jaywalking.
Everybody in here's a cold to hot person, right?
Cold
What do you
at
mean?
night.
Like you like being cold and going to hot instead of
Yes,
like being
you
hot
can-
and then getting cold.
Well, yeah, because you can
Yeah.
put on as many blankets and hoodies, whatever, as you want to get warm. You can't.
Oh yeah.
There's a finite amount of things you can take off.
Right.
Also, I run hot.
Yeah.
Like just generally.
Yeah,
But,
no, you want to be cold and then get like warm or hot.
So during this recent couple weeks where like before your landlord turns the heat on and it starts to get cold, like I imagine I'm at one of those hotels and I just put the AC on blast. So when I wake up all cold, I'm like, ooh, cozy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's all about a state of mind. But
I like people like to be cozy.
yeah.
Cozy is a natural want, I think, for humans. I think it's like you feel secure when you're cozy.
Comfort seeking.
What's the difference between being comfortable and being cozy?
Ooh.
I think cozy implies a swaddle.
Yes.
Like you're
A
being wrapped.
blanket's involved.
You're being wrapped in something.
Because I'm comfortable right now just sitting,
Oh, cozy.
but I'm not cozy.
If you're
Cozy
wearing,
needs
like-
a cover.
Cozy or
Cozy needs a
covered?
cover because you can be comfortable in a lazy boy,
Yeah.
but cozy's with a cover.
If I was wearing, you could be cozy just hanging out in a sweater though. If it's like a big fucking
If it's
sweater.
if it's one of those cable knit
So
Yeah.
sweaters that Chris Evans wears in Knives Out.
So I'm
The
actually
Lenny Dykstra or not the Lenny Kravitz turtleneck.
yeah, that.
so
Both guys on drugs take their penis out a lot. Same thing.
I'm a big fan of Snuggies.
Yep.
I have several Snuggies.
Cozy.
Cozy as fuck. And in the Snuggie was out before the phones were big, and it is the perfect thing for like having a phone and putting on your Snuggie. Like Monday Night Football when we don't watch in the office, I get on the couch, usually just work out right before, just chill on there, Snuggie on
What do
the
you
phone, live tweeting. It's amazing.
What do you think the net worth of the creator of the Snuggie is?
I hope he's $100 million.
$2 billion.
No, 200 million.
What? 200 million for the
That's
Snuggie?
That's a crazy.
Yeah, I
amount,
know
though.
that's insane. I was just wishful thinking. What?
Good for them.
In the first 5 years, Snuggie sales top $500 million.
Wow.
500 million?
Yeah.
All right, we got to think of the next Snuggie.
Dog blanket.
Yeah, it's a dog blanket. Yeah. Let's just do a bunch of coke and convince ourselves that the dog
A
blanket is
Snuggie.
that's it.
A Snuggie for your dog.
No, a Snuggie with a fly.
I wish I would have
Ooh.
thought of the Ring camera.
It's not a bad
yeah.
that's not an idea, Billy. A snuggie that you can shit and poop in and pee in.
Yeah.
Isn't that like the old timey onesies that you would wear to bed?
Yeah, with the flap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the nightcap.
But
Yeah.
so like when
no
I
one wears nightcaps anymore.
Bring them back.
when I get up in my Snuggie and walk to the bathroom, that's the biggest problem I have. Is that I need a flap.
You gotta and then you have to like lift it up.
That's
Yeah,
in
and
the
then,
front.
and then
That's
you're
what
like,
girls are like all the
And
time.
then you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's a good point, Mad Dog.
That's just a dress.
I always wonder when I
Yeah, but
see
you sit.
a girl that goes
What?
out like all day wearing a one-piece jumper.
Oh, the jumpsuits.
I always think like when you go pee, you have to like take all of your clothes off.
You're naked. Yeah.
That's so weird. That's so inefficient.
yeah.
Well, remember the romp him? That
Yeah.
was a thing. Yeah, thank God that never caught
They
on.
got swagger jacked by Balls Beachwear.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Big T, do you have anything to be teed off about?
No, not really. It's been a pretty uneventful week. Actually, there was something that happened to me last week that I should have mentioned on Monday. I just didn't think about it. I went to a little, New York City libish bar on Friday after work, and I didn't want to drink because it was like this fancy. They didn't eat even the beers were like crazy. So I was like, whatever. Can I just get a Coke? And they bring out it was like 7.5 ounce can of Coke, which whatever. That's fine. And then I paid, and it was $6, and I just about had a stroke.
Yeah.
Probably
I don't blame you.
I truly couldn't believe it. And so yeah, that's just, it's Joe's America. It's what we're living in. And I hope it gets fixed soon because
I'm trying to think of the things that you could charge Big T for that would make him instantly like want to pass out, like things that would really make his eyes
that just
pop.
about did it.
That's probably up there.
I've
like if you ordered Chick-fil-A on Uber Eats.
Oh, I mean, you may as well buy a boat.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if it was $30 for you to get Chick-fil-A, then at that point I think you would storm some capital.
I've accepted the food prices here. It's outrageous if you go out to eat. It costs what it costs. But that was like, I mean, that's egregious.
It is pretty bad. But is that Biden's fault?
No, that's just New York.
Yeah.
Like, that's it was $6 before Joe. I mean, so whatever.
They charge with it. That's capitalism, baby.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure is.
It's not my choice to go to that place.
No.
What's like the number one thing you like waste your money on, you'd say?
Rent.
Yeah. I go out to eat probably more than I think a lot of people in New York do, but like I probably spend too much money on that. Other than that, like, I don't know. Video games?
Yeah.
Fall's a tough time. COD's coming out. FIFA just came out. NHL. They hit you all at once.
I still ask for Madden for Christmas from my grandma.
Do you?
Without fail.
They are EA Sports might be the biggest scam artist on the planet.
Yeah.
They have to be. Because the game has not only gotten worse, they still continue to push out promo for like buying Ultimate Team players.
Let me tell you
That's
something.
all they
though.
have.
Next summer when NCAA comes out, I don't remember if we've discussed it on this show or not, but there's not a 3-digit number I wouldn't pay for that video game. They could charge $900, I'd pay it.
Yeah. They've just gotten away from the simplicity of the game. Like I remember Madden 18 was very simplistic, and now it's like all the players have like superstar X factor, and it takes away from the balance of the game, I feel like.
Yeah, I haven't played Madden in years, but next July, it's on.
All I'm saying is that me and Big T we're a problem when you get us on the sticks in FIFA.
We're pretty nasty. We need to do that again because we played some duos and we were fucking people up.
I did see that.
Grittying on graves.
Mm-hmm. It was nasty. So do we want to talk about any of the Kanye stuff?
Crazy.
Crazy.
Bad guy.
No, but yes.
Well, wait, no. Bad guy.
All I want to say is, yes, Kanye's an idiot. But like, who are these people acting like Kanye was the moral arbiter of our society and like they're so disappointed in Kanye West?
Right.
Like, this guy's been a moron for many years.
Kanye was
Who's
permanently banned from Fortnite.
Who's
Just
the
let you guys
fuck.
know.
That's it. Whatever happened to the First Amendment in this country?
I know.
That's disgusting.
It's the biggest L he's
It's
ever taken, probably.
Big tech. Silencing another voice.
Wait, no.
Antonio Brown had we're just going to go off his statement today.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown, tell me if you think that Antonio Brown wrote a single word of this statement. All right. We all know AB. Over the past few weeks, the world's reactionary and selective outrage at comments in the media made by my brother Ye have inflamed and sparked rampant conversation and reflection. I too have been able to reflect on statements that I and others in my circle have made that lack clarity in expressing my stance. The people and brands that have relentlessly profited from black ideas and black culture chose to distance themselves at a very specific time, a time that demonstrated their prioritization of certain groups over others.
Oh.
None of us in this world are free of judgment, yet we live in a time where scrutiny and pessimism have driven our dialogues on cultural issues towards diatribes. Sensationalism and groupthink have forced people to not speak their minds and act out in fear rather than love. For these reasons, I stand by my dedication to freedom of speech, thought, and opinion. I actively seek to coexist in places where I may have a difference of opinion because it's diversity in thought that pushes humanity forward. Let me be clear, discrimination of any kind is an injustice to all people, which is exactly why I wish to issue this statement.
No way.
He doesn't
that was
know
AB.
that statement exists.
No.
Definitely not.
Not to stray too far away from Kanye, how is AB not in jail? Didn't he like sexually assault a woman on camera?
And he's assaulted multiple people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lex Friedman I was talking about. I get them mixed up. Lex Friedman.
That was just
Okay.
the totally different name.
I don't know how I mixed those up.
I did not. I saw that he did a podcast with him.
Basically,
But
Lex
it was
Friedman.
like it was like 2.5 hours long,
mean,
and I was like, I don't really feel like listening to Kanye
He-
talk for an hour.
I saw clips, but he basically like tried to talk Kanye down and actually got him to admit like that he was like, he got him to admit that he was caught up in like talking points.
Did you see the Piers Morgan interview?
No.
That was
The Piers
crazy.
Morgan, that was nuts. He was like, Piers Morgan, you are broke. I am richer than you. Why should I listen to you?
He started talking in like a British accent. He's like, Piers Morgan's like, I don't sound like that.
That's kind of funny.
When Piers Morgan is like, dude, you should really like stop talking right now. You should probably listen.
Yeah.
I do want to get off my chest. I was front row at a Kanye West concert in 2016. I no longer would do that.
There's no shame in that. He's got great music.
I might actually go to a Kanye West concert. Like
Now?
because
Because
His
now you're
music
like,
I
is
think you're going to
awesome.
get canceled for
why?
that.
His music is awesome.
I think,
you're not really supposed to support him anymore.
Art from the artist though, separated.
I think you're going to get canceled for that.
I mean, okay, you can't sit here and tell me that. Wait, Billy's about to sneeze. It's gonna be so loud. Yeah, all right.
Sorry.
I knew that was gonna derail any thought I was
Sorry.
about to have, so I decided to press pause on it. Like you can't tell me that Through the Wire isn't a banger. I don't care.
I don't know
Wire
that
is-
song.
Oh, Through the Wire is a banger.
Through the Banger, yeah, it's awesome.
Through the banger.
Through the Banger. If Vladimir Putin came out with College Dropout, I would be like, let's hear him out.
Vladimir Putin made Graduation.
Yeah, I'd be like, listen, he's got some good ideas.
But I will no longer be supporting. I will no longer go to a Kanye West concert. in
You
this
think
day and
he's
age.
about to drop a new album?
Kanye West?
Yeah.
No, he's just off his rocker.
Yeah, he's maybe off his meds. It's a possibility. I would almost.
This is a guy who
I'm not a
has
doctor, but I could almost guarantee he is off his meds.
who has said in his songs before, I am insane when I stop taking my medication. And people are like, what could possibly be wrong?
Yeah. You remember a couple years ago when he first started doing he would like put on the MAGA hat and do that sort of thing. People were saying that this is a giant artistic expression that he's doing that's based on like an obscure 19th century French satirist, and that only Kanye like can know because like one of his business partners helped to publish like a book that cited that French satirist in the table of contents or something. It was everybody would say like Kanye's playing like 17-dimensional chess right now, and nobody can understand except for me because I've done this. It was probably some guy that just like wrote a paper about this French dude in college and just connect everything that he sees in the world is tied back to that guy. He's like, Kanye's doing it. Kanye's doing my guy.
Do you think Kanye comes out ever with more music that does like well and people are like, this is really good?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't know.
Okay, so could you ever listen to a song where you disagreed with the lyrics 1,000,000%? You disagreed with the message of the song, but the tune itself was still like,
Yes,
It's
but
it's like the gif of Jay-Z like bobbing his head.
but I think collectively, like everyone is like actually done with him, and like he will never get critically acclaimed ever again.
I'm
Like,
not so sure about that.
No music critic would ever be like, you know what, this new Kanye West record is good. I don't think that'll ever happen.
So
it won't happen with like R. Kelly.
His
I know that.
whole he's getting like everywhere. He's getting a full press right now. Like his Donda basketball team, his Donda school basketball team was eliminated from tournaments. Basically, you know, all of his stuff's been cut off. The whole sports agency stuff with Aaron Donald.
Yeah, CAA dropped him.
Yes. So I mean, I think it's starting to. It might, you know, he might start correcting his.
No, but I think that when you're like
That's not how
Kanye
he thinks.
is, you don't look at things like these are the consequences of my actions. I think dealing with consequences just makes you more dug in that what you're doing, that you're the only sane person, that everybody else is wrong.
He thinks that it's everyone. Like, he thinks that Adidas is going to go bankrupt now.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if you're Kanye West, and it goes back to what he was saying to Piers Morgan when he was saying, "I'm richer than you. Why would I ever listen to you?" Kanye West probably, he's done very well for himself. It's not unreasonable for him to have that much confidence in what he thinks, given all the success that he's made for himself in the past. So he's like, well, my brain has gotten me to these highs and these points in my career that's been previously unattainable by anybody. So why would I stop listening to myself right now? So he's just going to get more and more dug in on everything as he gets called out for stuff. So basically, and I guess we should say with a caveat of we haven't listened to what Kanye has said in this interview with Lex Friedman or whatever, but when When you start a tweet with saying I'm about to go DEFCON 3 on Jews, that's probably like delete. You should maybe log off for a while. Just put the account on pause.
The craziest part is that he wasn't ready yet. He had to take a nap.
Yeah.
And then when he woke up,
when I wake up, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on Jews.
like imagine going to sleep being like, when I wake up tomorrow morning, like what the fuck?
He probably woke up in the morning like, I'm not really feeling DEFCON right now. He also invented a thing. It's DEFCON,
Yeah.
not DEFCON.
The DEFCON is worse.
I think it is because
It's like death.
yeah, it's like it implies that you're actively going to be attacking.
Yeah. Fuck. Do you want to, there's a diss tape being recorded right now for Kanye, I think in Bed-Stuy.
Okay.
Like it's I just saw it on TikTok. I think there's a Jewish rapper dissing Kanye. And he's in like a Hasidic part of the city.
Do you want to play it?
Yeah, I haven't listened to it yet.
Okay, this could be good or it could be really bad.
So wait, sorry again. Yeah.
That was it? That's all we get?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Okay. I heard him say Moses on there.
Maybe it'll come out. The record cut will be better.
Okay. Should we ban Kanye West from Macrodosing?
As a guest?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to leave this one up to Big T. This is Big T's call.
I feel like now that you said that, you kind of have to.
Why?
Well, because you can't not do it now.
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech only protects you from the government.
So Twitter should ban him.
No, that's not what I said. Twitter has exhibited that it's more than willing to do that.
They restricted him.
I would like to say Kanye West can come on. I'm banning him from Macrodosing unless he just comes on to perform his old songs.
Okay.
I like that.
I will permit Kanye West to come on the show if he performs Graduation start to finish.
Yeah, we're a separate the art from the artist podcast.
And some of that Ultralight Beam song. I like that song.
Oh, yeah.
And and the song that he did on the Weird Bible album with Kenny G. That was a good song too. That was the only real song on that album. I will convert to Christianity. No, I'm taking that back.
Wait, aren't you?
Yeah,
I'm a Quaker.
Kanye's Christianity.
I already said I would convert to Christianity if Carson Wentz won a playoff game.
Is Quakerism not a Christianity
Not really.
sect?
Not really.
Well,
what?
it's
Are you Quaker splaining to me?
yeah, I'm
Aren't
Quaker
you? Isn't this Quaker on Quaker crime?
Billy's not a Quaker.
Well, I'm not like there's
You're the least Quaker person ever.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
no.
you are.
But there's Quaker. I'm related to Quakers.
What does that mean? You're related to Quakers.
You
know is there anybody in your life that's a Quaker that's closer to you than I am?
That's practicing? Yeah.
It's Quaker adjacent. Christianity and Quakerism they're adjacent, but do
they believe Jesus Christ
it was started.
It's an Enlightenment religion.
Quakerism was started as a denomination of Christianity.
Yes.
Originally,
Right.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Technically Christian. Like Amish people are technically Christian.
It's because
So are Mennonites and like.
Yeah, because you believe Jesus is the son of God.
Are you like in denial of being part of a Christian sect?
No, but
Welcome to the club.
But it's very, very different from Christianity.
No, it is.
Are you thinking
but
Catholicism?
Are you thinking like you are definitely a sect of Christianity as a Quaker, but you're not Catholic.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but when people say they're Christian, that's kind of like saying like you're a mammal.
So there are different denominations of Quakerism as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay, which are all under the umbrella of Christianity.
There are some denominations of Quakerism that view Jesus as being one of the many teachers. There are some that view Jesus being the Son of God, but you have like a personal relation. And then there are some denominations of Quakerism that the more liberal versions of Quakerism that don't really put that much. It's just
Well,
about like
I mean,
your relationship.
Mormonism is
you follow
technically Christian.
the liberal versions follow the teachings, but they don't.
Yeah.
But they don't follow the person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's still under the umbrella of Christianity. Or like Mormonism is technically a Christian religion.
Latter-day Saints.
Like people, it's just like you're associating Christian with like its own religion. It's really not.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of fair. My personal upbringing in the Quaker Church was more about like don't pay attention to Jesus Christ the person, and don't interpret him being a son of God as being like a literal thing, but use the stuff that he did as inspiration for what you do.
See that part, the son of God part's pretty Christian.
Yeah.
That's like the whole Christian thing.
That's a big part. So that's what I'm saying. Like Jesus Christ is a part of some parts of Christianity.
Just because you're equating Christianity to like bad.
No, I'm not.
You are
No,
the way
it's
you're
not.
talking about it.
No, it's not at all.
No, I'm saying
No, I'm not Christian. Like,
I'm saying following, like believing that 100% Jesus was the Son of God and taking all that stuff literal. That is
right before this. You're like, I'm not Christian. Like Quakerism isn't Christianity. It's
Well,
like, yeah, it is.
I'm not a practicing Quaker.
Right.
I was raised in the Quaker Church, but I'm not practicing.
Quakerism sounds like its own thing.
I think religion is a great thing for anybody if it makes them feel good and makes them do good stuff. I would never. I only clown on organized religion when it's people that are trying to enforce their weird shit on other people that don't want to believe
And
it.
you know what? That is exactly how Halloween came about.
Let's go, Billy.
So Halloween actually found a lot of its original origin in a non-Christian thing at all. And then Christians imposed themselves onto those people to sort of make some of their traditions coincide with Christianity. And that is how we're going to go way back to the Highlands of Scotland and the bogs of Ireland to a pagan practice called Samhain. Samhain.
Same ham?
Samhain. And there's, no, but Halloween is also known as All Hallows Day. And, All Saints Day, also known as All Hallows Day, is November 1st. And that used to be a much bigger holiday back in the day when Christianity was much more widespread. But that is the reason why every election day is always held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday of November, because they never want an election day to fall on All Saints Day, the 1st of November.
Okay.
So by that rule, the first Tuesday after the first Monday means that if November the 1st is a Tuesday,
which it is this year.
Oh, so this is actually, that's huge. Yeah, this is one of those times where election day is then the second Tuesday after the first Monday. I always found that a really cool little juxtaposition. And it's because of All Saints Day or All Hallows Day, which Hallows Eve means Halloween evolved.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. And Hallows means like holy. So Hallows Day, Holy Day, All Holy Day turns into Hallows Eve, Halloween. And it's pretty cool. So basically back in the day, before there was over 365 saints, there used to be a day for each saint, but then it became too many saints. There's too many saints. So they made one day for all saints.
All Saints.
Yeah. So
what does hallow mean?
Hallow means holy.
Okay. So originally it was to people get dressed up as their favorite saint.
No.
Oh.
In order to discuss the story of Hallows
when do
Eve,
people start getting slutty?
Okay, so Jesus, Mary Magdalene talked to Jesus and said, "Hey Jesus, before cuffing season, the city girls need one last time to bust it out and find a cuff mate." So for
really dump them out.
Yeah, for like candles and chill, because they didn't have Netflix and that was the only way they could see. So then Jesus was like, "Okay, one night a year, it's acceptable to wear whatever outfit you want for the single ladies." And Mary Magdalene was like, hell yeah. And then he was like, but the next day we have to honor all the holy people.
You got to go to church immediately.
Yeah, and that is when the cuffing season starts. So that's when hot girl summer ends. And then cuffing season starts.
Got it.
So that's where that part comes in.
Yeah, it's like how Mardi Gras. You know how Mardi Gras got started?
No.
Mardi Gras.
Yeah, like Fat Tuesday?
Yeah, it's called Fat Tuesday because you weren't allowed to eat a lot of stuff in your house over the course of Lent, those 40 days, 40 nights. And so they would just eat all the shit that they had that they knew they wouldn't be allowed to for the next month. And so that Tuesday was called Fat Tuesday because you're getting fat.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to, go on Lent or whatever they call it.
Yeah. So basically, because there's so many saints, they need to put all the saints on one day. They set a day apart to honor them all and called All Saints Day. This took place in the year 1610 AD. The day of the year which the festival first occurred was the 1st of May, and it was not until 200 years after it was changed to November 1st, the day we now observe. The Christians of those times were in the habit of spending the night before All Saints Day in thinking over the good and helpful lives of those in whose honor the day was kept, in praying that they might be like them. Services were held in the churches, candles and incense burned before the pictures and statues of the saints. It was to them one of the holiest, most significant days of the year. So since all the saints were dead, because in order to be a saint, you have to be, made a saint after your death and all this stuff. So they were honoring dead people. So it was a thought of like, okay, honoring dead people in May, that's, their vibe. Like, that same vibe then when they were trying to impose Christianity on a lot of the pagan religions of Northern Europe, this weird time of Christianizing Europe when Christianity wasn't widespread. In like Christmas, right, coincides with the equinox, the winter, the
solstice, equinox, one of those things.
One of those things, right? So there was an already established holiday that coincided with the winter cycles, and one of those was this Celtic, Scottish, Irish tradition called Samhain. And basically it was the festival that marked the end of the harvest season, the beginning of winter or darker half of the year. So during this change of time in like pre-Christianity religions in Europe, it was like when the darkness came is when, the spirits and everything came out to play. It was like a very mystical time of year. It was the dark half of the year. And this was like the marking of the start of that time. And it coincided with the harvest. That's why Halloween's colors are orange and black. The orange is to signify the harvest, and the black is to signify the darkness that is coming.
Okay. So orange is... I always just thought that the orange had more to do with the colors of the leaves.
Right. But
foliage.
The harvest occurred like when the
leaves were
grain turns. So grain's green.
Yeah.
And then when it's ready to be harvested, it turns orange.
Yeah. Like
orange is a big thing. But this also then coincided with this time of the first 3 days. So there was this time called All Hallow Tide. And it was a remembrance of the deluge of the first night. Hallows Eve remembers the wickedness of the world before the flood, like Noah's Ark.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second day celebrates the saved who survived the great flood. And then the last day celebrates those who would repopulate the earth. So this like tradition of out with the old, in with the new sort of coincides with this Halloween time. So So this day was then moved from May to a time that coincided with a lot of the pagans' holidays. So when Christianity was marketing itself, they could be like, oh, like what you do there is basically what we do, but just a different thing. And you can keep some of your religious type stuff and keep it all integrated. And at this time, there was tons of traditions. So this is when they thought the souls of their dead kin were thought to revisit their homes seeking hospitality.
Okay.
And a place was set up at the table for them during a meal. Mummings and guisings were part of the festival from at least the early modern era, where people went door to door in costume reciting verses in exchange for food. This also coincides with like caroling. Mumming was like a big thing like back then, where they just go to different people's houses and be like, can we have some food? Like,
mumming.
Like begging, like going house to house was like turns out very popular back when, you know, everyone was neighbors and didn't think that a bunch of people showing up asking for stuff was weird. So the costumes may have been a way of imitating and disguising oneself from the divination in the evil spirits. So back then people gave like nuts and apples. So it's a very actually Irish and Scottish tradition that then they brought over to the Americas. So
I like the part where you would leave out a spot for the dead people, like at your table.
yeah,
So in case Dad
to
wants,
come back.
like the riblet is, or not the McRib is back for a limited time. Dad
Yeah.
would have loved this, and we'll leave one out for him.
Yeah.
And all the kids go to bed, and then Dad just eats it.
You see, this could be the last time.
That's bullshit. It's Cap.
That's how they're selling more.
brilliant
Cap.
marketing.
That's Mick Cap.
Did
is
you
what
see
it
that
is.
video of the people being like, "Oh my god, this is so disgusting," and they were making the McRib, and I was like, "This actually looks like really good."
Yeah, I love the McRib. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy eating it when it's out, but that's Cap. Big T. Big Cap.
Yeah, no, I said it's great marketing.
I guess it's okay. It's very transparent to me. Get with the fucking McSoup already, all right? Make some McSoup. I'm really into the Mexican version. I guess you could call it the Mexican version of Halloween.
This
The Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead.
that occurs right in like
It's like
It's like on Halloween.
It's November-
end of October.
yeah, it's usually end of October, maybe like November 1st, November 2nd. I think it's early next week. So it's Day of the Dead, and what they do in Mexico is everyone like dresses up as skeletons. You have skeletons everywhere. They paint their faces as skeletons. You eat like little sugar skeleton skulls, and you celebrate all the relatives that you have that are dead. And so you make an ofrenda in your house, which is like an altar, and you put pictures of all your dead family members up there, and you tell stories about them, and then you write little like fake obituaries sometimes for your friends that are alive, that are at the feast or the get together or whatever. So like you kind of roast them, but you write what would be in their obituary, almost like the old saying of how cool would it be to get to see your own funeral and see all the nice things that people say to you after you're dead, but get to experience that while you're alive. They do some of that stuff too. It's a much more positive way and realistic way, I think, of looking at life and death, because everybody's going to die. We're all going to die one day. And so we spend our entire lives being afraid and being sad about death. But you can also celebrate the people that are dead that are in your life. So I'm a fan of the Day of the Dead. They have these big parades and shit. Down in Austin, they have big festivals for Dia de los Muertos.
It wasn't like the best movie, but James Bond Spectre, the opening scene, it's the Day of the Dead, and it's so sick. Like the way they shot it, you have to watch it. It's insane.
I got to check that out.
Yeah.
Because there's like a bunch of colors and stuff.
Yeah.
We're all thinking about death as being, when we think of death, it's like black, right? You think of like spookiness around death. But with their Dia de los Muertos celebration, there's a little bit of that like morbid sense to it, but it's also very much a celebration where it's like bright colors and shit.
so a lot of like the gore relation with Halloween and horror and stuff and like blood actually comes from this day, the original pagan day, where they had this festival of the transition from the light to the darkness, is when they used to bring a lot of their livestock down to pasture, from like the summer pasture and they'd slaughter all of them for the winter to make sure that they had enough food for the winter, harvest, kill all the livestock. So if you look up the current day celebration of Eid, which has a ton of animal sacrifice, that's what was going on in these, peasant pagan towns in like Northern Europe. When it was the end of the summer, they had to conserve meat for the winter, and it was easier to kill a bunch of the animals and try to preserve their meat instead of trying to keep them alive throughout the winter when they'd probably get picked off by wolves, which was the origin of a lot of werewolf stories. So they basically had this huge slaughter fest. There was a lot of death being done on the animals, probably blood running through the streets, and they were lighting bonfires. And it was this was the time when the spirits were out and about, and there was also coinciding with this ominous going into the winter. So it was the perfect time for Christians to be like, yeah, let's stop that pagan shit. You know, we got a thing that we can do, and you're gonna call it Hallows Eve and All Saints Day, and you're gonna celebrate the saints the next day instead of just the dead. Like the saints are some of the dead, and even though they're not your relatives, you should celebrate them on the day after. But the day before, you know, when you were doing all the weird shit with your ancestors, like that's a wicked day.
When do you think the sluttiness came out of Halloween?
Well, as we talked about in the original, Mary Magdalene was like, hot girl summer needs to end so they can transition into
Christian
cuffing
girl
season.
You're completely skipping Christian Girl Autumn.
Yes.
That didn't exist. Oh, I guess Jesus he hadn't gone pro yet, so Christianity wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Everybody was Jewish.
Exactly.
Right?
No, but something that
I sound like
moving
Kanye right now.
We can get to how it developed into a commercial holiday, but the origin of the jack-o'-lantern is also from these pagan religions, and it comes from the Stingy Jack, the story of Stingy Jack. Stingy Jack was a blacksmith who, en route home after a night's drinking, encountered the devil. So Jack encountered the devil and tricked him into climbing a tree. A quick-thinking Jack etches the sign of the cross into the bark of the tree, trapping the devil. And the devil then was like, "Let me down." And Jack was like, "Let's strike a bargain." So Jack strikes a bargain with Satan that he can never claim his soul. And look, Jack wasn't, the best Christian. So Jack, after a life of sin and drinking and mendacity, Jack was refused entry to heaven.
Was that your word, mendacity?
It's from the original reading.
Okay.
So Jack was refused entry to heaven because he was a bad dude. And then he went to hell and was like, so where do I go? And the devil was like, "Ha, motherfucker. You fucked yourself by not saying I could take your soul. That didn't mean heaven had to take your soul." So because of that,
wait, I thought the whole purpose of the bargain was so the devil couldn't take his soul.
But the devil couldn't take his soul, but heaven wasn't taking him because he was a bad boy.
Got it. Just because
just
because we're kicking you out of this club doesn't mean you're going to get accepted into the other one.
So the devil refused to let Jack in. He threw him a live coal straight from the depths of hell at Jack. It was a cold night, so Jack placed the coal in a hollowed out turnip to stop it from going out. Since which time, Jack and his lantern have been roaming, looking for a place to rest for eternity. So, from this Christian religion, a turnip, which was then, gourd carving was a thing back when, like gourds of all sorts. Turnips was a type of gourd, like it's a tuber. But
so basically Jack did the hard part and defeated the devil, but then just forgot to be like, "Yeah, Jesus, I accept you as my savior" at the last second.
I mean, if you beat the devil, you'd probably think you're untouchable on this earth.
It's the details.
Yeah.
The devil is in the details in this one.
Whoa.
Is that, you think, where it came from?
100%.
So, that's where jack-o'-lanterns come from?
Yeah, and then,
You ever seen like a really sick jack-o'-lantern that's carved by like an artist? Mm-hmm. With the like real fine tools? I still just want to smash them. There's something really fun about destroying pumpkins.
You want to know, like Madeline said, she'll never go to a Kanye concert again. I think it was 2004. We had a Michael Vick pumpkin at my house. I feel like that was... He atoned for his sins, though.
Yeah, I guess. I would have fed that pumpkin to my dog. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Dogs love pumpkin.
There is
I loved Michael Vick, man. That shit was the worst.
Yeah.
Michael Vick was like probably my second favorite athlete as a kid, behind Chipper.
What a crazy time that was in like 2007.
People
Vick just signed a new contract. He was the most electric athlete on the planet. He changed how we played football and how we played football video games too.
And went to federal prison for running a dog fighting ring.
A dog fighting operation. Bad News Kennels.
Crazy.
Wild
Is that what
stuff.
it was called?
Yeah, Bad News in Newport News, Virginia.
Crazy.
Bad News Kennels. And yeah, him and Marcus Vick. There's a name for you. Marcus was supposed to be like better than Michael Vick when he went to Virginia Tech. And I heard some stories about him when he was on campus because I had I had a lot of friends that went to Virginia Tech at the same time he did. He got in some trouble with some of his teammates. They had like this crash pad where it was essentially an apartment with just a mattress on the floor, and they would just take girls there and bang them. And that sounds really romantic, right? Like they would just, they bang these girls out. But apparently they got in trouble because some of the girls were underage, actually, like very significantly underage.
Allegedly. Or is this?
I don't know. I think that there's probably a police report filed about it.
To Michael Vick's credit, though, one of the few people who like went to jail, came out, and like actually tried to like fix the things he did.
Yeah. I mean, I think that he's a scumbag for what he did, and you have to have something fucked up in you to be able to do the kind of stuff that they did to dogs.
From sources I've heard, Michael Vick was a big yes man to his crew.
That could have been it too, yeah.
And by financing an operation, like, doesn't necessarily mean you have to be adjacent to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, who knows?
Here we go. Following an incident which occurred on January 27, 2004, Marcus Vick was arrested and accused of having sexual relations with a 15-year-old girl. He was also charged with unlawfully providing alcohol to 3 underage girls who claimed to be college students. So that could be a dicey situation where one of the girls said that she was 18 and then turns out she was much younger. That's a big 3 years, though, between 18 and 15.
What was the date on that again?
That was 2004.
But the time of year?
What time of year was it?
Yeah.
January.
Oh, never mind.
Why?
That was around October for some reason.
And then that would have been spooky.
Spooky.
Marcus Vick getting into some real spooky stuff.
But anyway, the jack-o'-lantern then evolved in America using the most common American gourd, the pumpkin. And the jack-o'-lantern was also a way of protecting one's home against the undead. Superstitious people used them specifically to ward off vampires. They thought this was because it was said the jack-o'-lantern's light was a way of identifying vampires, who once their identity was known would give up their hunt for you. So that going door to door, asking for treats, exchanging singing, dressed up as different saints.
It's not asking for treats, Billy. It's putting a question, trick or treat.
Well, that developed.
You can choose trick.
So in the Christian origins of that sort of what's the word exactly, where they went door to door. The trick or treat part came with more of the pagan traditions. That the evil spirits might do something bad if you don't reward them, and a lot of it was prayers for treats. So they would pray for your dead loved ones if you gave them a treat. And then it went to America, became trick or treat because unhappy ancestors sort of got detached, and this whole idea of night of mischief was afoot. So wicked spirits, the day before you celebrated the good saints, was sort of the juxtaposition. Comes to America, candy companies, Wrigley, all these large agricultural
conglomerates
in the Midwest start to produce goods, Hershey, and they start to produce candy. And for the first time in history, you have foodstuffs being cooked, created, and processed outside of the home. And with this became a lot of distrust. Because think about it. Let's say coming out of the Depression, all the food you ever made was always done in the home. You bought the flour. The flour is made by the baker, but it's just white flour. There's nothing hiding there. Sugar you got from the store. It's white powder. Didn't have to worry about fentanyl back then. And all those foodstuffs that came in, the eggs were probably from your garden, but now you're getting goods that were created in a totally different location, totally different kind of alien setup. And this was actually the foundation of all the poison candied and razor blade apple myths.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the urban legends about malevolent strangers intentionally hiding poisons or sharp objects such as razor blades, needles, or broken glass in candy and distributing the candy in order to harm random children, especially during Halloween or trick-or-treating. So these are modern cautionary tales to children and parents and repeat two themes that are common in urban legends: danger to children and contamination of food. So during the Industrial Revolution, when food production moved out of the home or local area where it was made in familiar ways by known and trusted people to strangers using unknown ingredients and unfamiliar machines and processes, some doctors publicly claimed that they were treating children poisoned by candy every day. If a child became ill and had eaten candy, the candy was widely assumed to be the cause. However, no cases of illness or death were ever substantiated. So this was a big, the poison candy myth came about back in the Industrial Revolution, and there was a resurgence back in the 1960s to 70s. This was a time of great social upheaval, greater racial integration, improved status for women, reflected societal questions about who is trustworthy, because society was struggling with questions about whether to trust neighbors in newly integrated neighborhoods or young women who were publicly rejecting the subservient motherhood-focused roles previously assigned to women. These stories about unidentifiable neighbors allegedly harming random innocent children during an event intended to bring happiness to these children caught and retained the public imagination in a way that accurate stories about judgmental neighbors, an abusive parent, or an adult carelessly leaving harmful chemicals where children could reach them would not have.
People love to get afraid.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? People love to be just terrified as shit about everything.
I mean, so there were a couple of examples of people with candy, with poison or other household detergents or chemicals, but they were all staged by the children for attention.
Yeah.
Or whenever children died of mysterious circumstances, especially when they were poisoned by drugs around the time of Halloween, it was always blamed upon Halloween candy. Even if it was a month later,
Yeah, it's still Halloween.
it was like, oh, he went into his Halloween stash and ate a random blank. It must have been laced with not my heroin, but someone else's heroin.
People love to get afraid of stuff, and there's certain things that they love to dig up all the time. One is they dig up and they renew the poison candy, or the razors in the apples, which nobody's ever done, because who does that? And then they also love to revitalize the satanic panic stuff, where they say, oh, kids are becoming satanic and they're doing these rituals with dogs and cats and animals, and they're coming for your kids, and there are secret messages in the songs that your kids are listening to trying to get them to become satanic. And they like to dig that out like once every 10 years or 15 years. And it's never true. Like none of the, and also like if you look up what the Church of Satan is, then I think that's probably at odds entirely with what people think that it is in terms of like torture and all that shit. But people love to have that on the news. The news loves to put up like satanic ritual found in like middle school cafeteria.
So there's two.
Or your kid's next.
Yeah, there was 2 instances of actual people messing with food, but it's actually quite funny. In 1959, a California dentist, William Shine, gave candy-coated laxative pills to trick-or-treaters, which not going to kill anybody. Prank.
That's actually better than what dentists usually do on Halloween, which is they give you the fucking toothbrush and the toothpaste and like, oh, make sure to brush your teeth because you're eating all that sugar. You ever have a dentist in your neighborhood?
No.
Skip the dentist's house. Big T. Well, no, you're from Georgia, so probably not many dentists. Avery?
Yeah.
Yeah, Big T, did you
This guy tries to sit here and say like, oh, I'm not a fucking shitty liberal elitist.
It was a joke. My family's from the South, man.
I thought it was from MS-13 land.
I'm from the South. They're from Virginia.
No, North Carolina, but that's okay.
There was dentists in MS-13 land?
Huh?
Nothing. And then in 1964...
But you know what I'm saying? Like the stupid dentists that try to give you
I'm sure there's a
toothpaste.
lot of dentists where you live now.
In 1964...
cosmetic dentistry to the stars.
Big T, you need to come to PFT's house. He has.
I don't know that I'm allowed.
He has window AC.
What does that mean? I've got.
Now Billy's calling you poor.
Yeah, I am poor.
He's got window AC units. No.
It's got probably 4 gates.
In 1964, a disgruntled Long Island, New York woman gave out packages of inedible objects to children she believed were too old to be trick-or-treating. The packages contained items such as steel wool, dog biscuits, and ant buttons were clearly labeled with the word poison. Though nobody
That's
was
funny.
injured, she was prosecuted and pleaded guilty to endangering children. So those were two instances where people actually messed with stuff. But the thing is, in 1964, that year, and by the way, she was just giving it to teenagers and people. She was like, go get a life, like candies for the little kids. So in that same year, there was reports of lye-filled bubblegum being handed out in Detroit and rat poison being given out in Philadelphia, even though these media reports were never substantiated to be actual events. And this sold papers. So this was alarmistry. I mean, honestly, this is probably one of those side effects of capitalism. If something's
clicks.
selling, if it gets clicks, I mean, we're in a click industry thing.
Yep.
But my legalized cocaine blog isn't publishable.
Interesting.
But yeah. So
there's basically the bottom line is your kid's not going to be getting fentanyl on Halloween.
hopefully.
Good point. Good add-on. You guys want to do some rankings? Some
Yes.
Halloween candy rankings?
Yes.
Yeah.
We got to get to this shit before
Oh.
everybody else does, because I feel like like Friday and Monday are going to be big days for Halloween power rankings. So we just got to put ours out first.
The Barstool Sports Instagram is going to put out like every state's favorite Halloween candy, and it's by the stupid
Oh, don't.
American Science
Don't talk about the American Science Syndicate.
Symposium.
No,
Yeah.
trust them.
Yeah, trust them.
Yeah, and it's like
Circus Peanuts
Real quick, candy corn.
in like Florida.
Yeah.
Usually that's one of the ones.
Candy corn was originally marketed as chicken feed.
Candy corn rocks.
I love candy corn.
That
It's
is
disgusting.
It rocks for
Disgusting.
a week a year.
I don't mind candy corn.
I would never down candy corn in March.
I don't
love
mind it at all.
the candy pumpkins.
Yeah, those are good too. People hate candy corn for no real reason.
It's gross.
It's like pure sugar.
It's literally just sugar. Like, it tastes good.
But it's basically it's old fashioned candy back when candy was ass. Like candy didn't always used to be like super good. Like candy used to be pretty shitty. Like black licorice,
Oh yeah.
people
Yeah.
used to eat that shit up.
But also
that was
like
candy.
I just don't think food was as good because there's no like processed shit in it.
Yep.
Like I just don't think anything was as good.
No, there's some pretty good. Like I bet but the thing is like farm style white bread is what Wonder Bread used to be, and that shit just rocks.
Yeah.
Like I like the like only 5 ingredients food. It's not processed, but like baked in different goods. Like the 5 ingredients ice cream, where it's just milk, cream, eggs,
Sugar.
not all the other shit.
I love Wonder Bread. I don't care if it's processed. I don't care what's in it.
Oh, I do.
Wonder Bread
yeah.
is dessert.
Yeah, Wonder Bread's awesome.
Oh,
It's like
Wonder
a
You
little
can just
bit
eat the whole
sweet.
loaf by itself.
You can crumple it into a little ball and it sticks together, and then you
Yeah.
put the ball in.
Yeah.
Oh,
So good.
Wonder Bread, Skippy, Welch's grape jelly is just candy,
Oh, Uncrustables.
dude.
I'm gonna hand out Uncrustables for Halloween this year. How about that?
I'd
Honestly,
fucking love that.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
hate that if
Yeah.
I were a kid.
I'm gonna hand out Uncrustables. We'll see how many kids come to my apartment. You're lost if you don't. Somewhere in Manhattan, PFT is gonna be the Santa Claus of delicious pocketbook sandwiches.
Oh, so basically, candy corn came about because it was they were marketing. They wanted to create agriculture-inspired treats to market to a largely rural society.
So they're marketing to corn fans.
Yeah.
It's corn.
So buttercream candies. So they were marketing. This is actually hilarious. They marketed candy originally to like to rural populations and used terms like buttercream because it's two things that they found like very nurturing, like butter and cream.
Yeah.
But was then just like and I would say even though butter and cream, I would say are pretty savory, not necessarily sweet.
Yeah.
So they just bait and switched people into a sugar addiction, which is pretty cool. So, it was not always associated with fall and Halloween season. It was well known as penny candy, as bulk confectionery, and was advertised as an affordable and popular treat that could be eaten year round. But it took a big time. It became a Halloween staple in the 1950s when people began to hand out individually wrapped candy to trick-or-treaters. So, and the harvest-colored themes were a big one. So, that was why candy corn became so popular.
Big candy.
Big candy is right, like Mars, Hershey, like
Okay, let's come up with our power ranking list.
Should we do it Before the interview or after?
Let's do it after the interview.
All right.
Good call. So we're going to get into our interview with spooky director Eli Roth. You like that? He's very spooky. Eli is brought to you by Game Time, created by fans for fans. Game Time is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. They guarantee the lowest price. Billy, you just went to a Yankees game, right?
Oh, yeah. Went on Saturday. It was awesome.
Yeah. How awesome was it?
The thing is, I actually like, even if the Yankees aren't doing well, a trip to the ballpark is something I always hold close to my heart. And thanks to Game Time, I was able to go.
Yeah. Thanks to Game Time, Billy was able to make it.
The clients were entertained.
Very, very. I know one client was entertained. Chris Long, recurring guest
Yeah.
of Macrodosing. Yeah, he sent me a text. He was like, I got Billy drunk on Saturday.
No, I got him drunk on Saturday.
You got him drunk?
Yeah.
Who was entertaining which client?
I entertained the
wait.
shit out of him.
Wait, he said that he got you drunk.
No. That is not true at all.
Oh, well,
He
we have to
was-
get to the bottom of this.
His Nate Collins, his co-host on Greenlight, said it got pretty hazy after this, and posted a picture of me and them. I got him and his boys drunk. I took them to all these spots in the city. I then Irish exited because they were too drunk.
Okay, Chris said that he goes, hey, I got Billy shit-faced Saturday.
No, he got shit faced. This is something.
I'm gonna call Chris.
The fact that he's saying that he got me drunk is him covering for himself.
I'm gonna call Chris. We have to figure this out.
Yeah, well, what's good is you can use Game Time to entertain clients
That's true.
regardless. It's a long form ad.
They better pay extra for this. This is
Yeah.
a great ad for Game Time.
Yeah. Nights like these,
Is he gonna be
start
ducking
at
me?
Game Time.
What up, dude?
Hey, Chris. You're on macrodosing right now because I had a question for you.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out the mystery of who got who drunk on Saturday because Billy was just talking about going to the Yankees game and he said that he got you drunk.
No,
and
in
then
response to
I was
his
like, wait,
text.
Billy, wait. And then I said, wait, Chris told me that that you got Billy shit faced. So which one is it?
So who left first, Billy?
I did.
Okay. I walked into my hotel at 4 a.m, dude. You left at like 1:45 in the morning. I can remember when I bought 5 shots of 1942 or whatever it was, and you looked at me and were like, again? Like you had that again look?
Oh no.
And-
Well, yeah,
dude.
because I didn't get drunk.
Billy, you went home for a reason, bro.
Yeah, because I had to record the next day.
When I found out that Billy was at Yankee Stadium, we had to find him. Billy's an animal, bro. He dropped a Zyn on the floor of the concourse at Yankee Stadium and then put it in at 1 a.m.
Damn, because he's a gremlin. I love that, Billy.
He's in gremlin mode, but he couldn't sustain gremlin.
No,
I'm 16 years old,
people are
Billy. I'm
forgetting.
doing this.
People are forgetting. I had to record the next day, less than 12 hours later.
Oh, Billy, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but but
Okay,
we had a great time. We had a great time.
This is conclusive evidence. Thank you, Chris.
I was just I was accused.
Listen, the jury is in. The official verdict is that Chris got you drunk.
Well, I
There's
left.
nothing to be ashamed.
No,
of.
that's
Okay,
good.
no,
Many men.
we had a great time. We had an amazing time.
Also, it sounds like he was
I leave the trail
paying.
of bodies, man.
All right.
Oh yes, actually that is true.
Thank you.
He
Thank
did
you, Chris.
get me
I appreciate
drunk.
it. I'll let you
That
get
is
back
true.
to it.
Take care, bud.
All right. Bye.
Love you, Billy.
You gotta do it
See ya.
again.
All right. So, conclusively,
No, technically,
he got you drunk. No, don't say technically. Anytime you say technically, here
he
comes
bought
a lie.
the shots of 1942, and I said, "That is nuts! Like
He got you drunk, and you had to go home. It's fine. You can just say you had to leave. That means he got you drunk. So, Chris Long got Billy drunk after a day at the ballpark, thanks to Game Time,
yes, thank you, Game Time.
the best ticket sponsor in the world. If you want Chris Long to get you drunk at a ball game, best way to do it is with Game Time. You can also get $20 off. If you use promo code MACRO and get $20 off your first purchase, some terms apply. If you do that, please tweet at Chris Long and be like, hey, Chris, I'm at the ball game. I heard that you were going to get me drunk. Where are you? So download the Game Time app, go to the account tab, create a login, redeem code MACRO for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. They are the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. That is Game Time. And now here's Eli Roth. All right, we now welcome on a very special guest to Macrodosing. It's Eli Roth. You've probably heard about him, seen him in movies. He's a director, producer, / actor / everything. We can get into what label you'd like us to use for you because you've worn so many hats, but he's here talking about his new series that's coming out. It's called Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pet, and it's out right now. You can watch it on Travel Channel and streaming on Discovery Plus. They say that few things are more profound than the quiet bond between a person and their pet, but what if an evil presence takes hold of the animal and uses the trusted companion to get to us? Eli Roth presents My Possessed Pet. So my first question for you, Mr. Roth, is this show going to make me hate my dogs?
No, this is for dog lovers. I'm a dog, I grew up with dogs. My dog, I've had her 9 years. She's a Frenchie. And I'd come down and I'd see her like looking at my computer, sitting like a human in a chair. And it kept happening. And I thought, my first thought is, of course, is there a dead child inside my dog?
Naturally.
Most people would be like, the dog just wants to sit where you sat because it's warm or smells like you. But my thought is, oh, there's a dead child in my dog. She just, and so I thought, well, is this a real thing? Like, can your pet get possessed? And we put out the call, and we only did 4 episodes, like a limited series. And they're only on Discovery Plus now because they've all run on Travel Channel. But it like we found someone with a horse, someone with possessed tarantula. And they said, they were like, we found the actual people. And they're like, yeah, Vincent, he was super friendly. He was super nice. Then, something got into, so, you're like, how would you know that your tarantula is possessed? But what happens is like a lot of demonic things start happening around the house. Like they all start having dreams of having spiders all over them, or they're seeing these demonic figures. So it's kind of it's like a cool way into a possession story. Like if you replace the girl in The Exorcist with your dog, but the people, they love their pets so much, they just don't know what to do. So we had 2 dogs, a horse, and a tarantula. And they did exorcisms on their pets. Like they brought in spiritual people to exorcise the demons. And then like, yeah, Vincent was back to normal after. So, look, we just tell the stories, we interview the people, and we do recreations. But yeah, it was fascinating. My possessed pet.
That's interesting. So my question would be like, how would you know if a spider is possessed? Because I feel like spiders are already, it's like, yeah, no shit, your spider is possessed. It's a spider. That's kind of what
it's
they do.
It's a spider. No, of course. Like tarantulas, people think they're evil, but how would you know? Because they don't talk and they basically just kind of sit there. But they started like weird. It's the weird stuff. It's not that they're throwing up or tied up on the bed or the head spinning around. It's that they'll put the tarantula in the cage, close the lid, and then be in their bedroom and then see him on the pillow.
Yeah.
And they're like, how does that happen? How does that happen? And then they'll go and they'll bring him back, and like weird stuff like that kept happening, that the tarantula, no matter who put them back in the cage, he would get out and just be somewhere else in the house. And then they started having these horrible nightmares about being covered in spiders and being attacked by tarantulas. Like everyone in the house was getting them. And they had named it after a demon. Like they gave the tarantula some nickname. Like the father was a researcher and had found some demon. It was like, oh, this is a cool name. And that was the spirit that got into the tarantula. I mean, we have the people on, they explain the whole thing. And they're like, yeah, we know this sounds crazy, but I don't know what else to do. Like everyone in the house starts having nightmares. He keeps getting out of the cage. He seems like a different pet. Like everyone's suddenly terrified. Like one guy with his dog, the dog went in the cemetery, went back. And then the guy's like, yeah, my dog started mind controlling me. Like I became the dog's servant. Like, and then he's like, yes, master. Yes, master. So was this guy having a psychotic episode? Was his dog possessed? But I don't know. But in any event, they all love their pets so much. And they're like, I want to try and save them. They're not like religious, people are like devoutly religious. We're like, oh, obviously this is a demon. They're just, their stories, like this girl with a horse, she's riding her horse. The horse is her best friend. And then the horse is like trying to run off a cliff and kill them. And she's like, what's going on? Like, why is my horse suddenly? And then they found out that there was like, they bring a medium in. This guy, Scotty, the New Jersey medium, comes in and he's like, there's an evil spirit. There was a murder here. There's a trapped soul. They're trying to use the horse as a vessel to kill you. They want you off the property. So it's all these really, whether you believe it or not, the people that it happened to are 100% certain, and they kind of don't care if you believe it or not. They're like, I know this happened, and now I know it's still there and you have to watch out for it. But it was amazing how many people responded when we put out the call going, has this ever happened to you? People were like, oh, absolutely. So could you argue it's people that want to be on television? Sure. But you're going to go on television for something that could potentially be like, people look at you like you're insane. But they were so happy. They were so happy to tell their story. They were like, I've tried to explain this to people. Now I can just show them the episode of the show.
Yeah, we use our pets for something. I guess you could say they're controlled by something else. But I had a dog that went 8-1 picking Monday Night Football winners. And we had a goldfish that finished, I think, 11th place in the Las Vegas Super Contest for picking NFL winners over the course of an entire season. That's like a different kind of possession. That's a good possession that you can like use your animal to make you some money on.
Well, we wonder that. I mean, that's great. Like that's like the plot of like an 80s movie. Like, the dog like scratches the winning lottery tickets or something. But I think that we all have this feeling that animals are just tuned into something because they'll predict when a tsunami's coming, or the way they can kind of read your emotions or know what mood you're in before you come down the stairs. Like there's just some other frequency. So the idea that something could get into it and be like, oh, I want to help these guys with their football picks.
Yep.
Someone from the past or some spirit is like, oh, I know how I can help them through the goldfish, obviously. Yeah. And it sounds so crazy. And then it keeps happening over and over and over. I think we love that idea. I think we all would want to believe that these animals have some kind of magic ability, because it sounds so insane in real life. But then when it goes 8-1 in the football picks, obviously,
listen,
that's
numbers
like,
don't lie.
Yeah, I mean, dogs. They're interesting. Dogs saved Hollywood. Warner Brothers. They were going to go bankrupt, and then there was a dog that came back from World War I named Rin Tin Tin, and he was so well trained. It was a war dog, and the soldier could get the dog to do anything, and he became the biggest star in Hollywood and saved the box office. Literally, movies were saved by a dog. So they had a whole house for him and a whole like thing, like a whole trailer. It's like it's a true story. It's like around like 1917 or 18 when it's like, is this thing going to work? Like the first major movie star we ever had was a dog. So I think that people love, relating these things to animals. It's just interesting to think of like, what would you do if your pet, suddenly turned against you and wasn't rabid? It was just something. I think that's why rabies scares us. So
yeah.
On the flip side, Son of Sam killer also thought he was being controlled by a dog with the devil in it.
That's true. That's
yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
stuff.
So it's not like it's that far out. But
I know.
And Eli, what I like about you, and this maybe speaks to the horror genre as a whole, is it's filled with some really fucked up people that have really dark, weird thoughts, but they're very positive and they're very proactive about like these weird things that they come up with, and they get really excited and they turn them into like really positive. They almost look at getting scared as being a fun thing to do. Like you were talking about coming downstairs and seeing your dog on the seat, and you're like, oh, that my dog, what if it was just possessed by a dead child? Like that's kind of a fucked up thought to have, but it's also like a very creative thought to have. And if you lean into it and you turn it into something positive, then that's something like you've kind of found yourself in this genre where that sort of thing is like celebrated and encouraged. And it's a really awesome community filled with people that are kind of like-minded like that. At any point, did you think like, hey, I've got all these weird thoughts about these things. Is that a bad thing, or are we sure that's a good thing that I'm having these weird creative thoughts?
Oh, totally. I mean, the good thing is my dad's a psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, was a professor at Harvard. And I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts, which was at the time was like the safest city in America. And it was like kind of like upper middle class, heavily Jewish area. And all they talked about was the Nazis. I mean, if you grew up, it was like Holocaust, 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 Holocaust. Like we'd be eating dinner and it's like, if the Nazis showed up, I mean, my parents, it was like you'd be turned into furniture. We could all be in an oven right now. Finish your carrots, like that level of discussing the Holocaust. And it gets into your head of like, wow, this is like if my grandparents hadn't gotten out of Poland and Austria, like we would have gone in an oven. Like you just have this weird thought. So I always thought, no matter what I think of, is it really worse than what the Nazis actually did? And I had asked my dad, I was like, why am I thinking all these crazy things? Because I was like the neighborhood babysitter. I was the responsible kid. I was a camp counselor. I was like the kid that if the teacher had to leave for some crazy reason, they could leave me in charge of the class knowing like nothing crazy would happen. And I was like, so why am I thinking about like chopping people up with a chainsaw? And acts like I don't want to do that, but I'm afraid of that happening. And my father would say it's a very way to, it's kind of like a really healthy way to exercise fear that, you know, and I've thought about this a lot. Like I talked to soldiers. I mean, I started getting messages from people on military bases that I think it was Hostel and Cabin Fever. Really, Hostel was hugely popular. And I'd say, why would you want to watch that after you're actually seeing people getting blown up and body parts? And, you know, for 90 minutes, they're allowed to be afraid. You know, in real life, we can't be scared. We can't like walk around. You know, you see that thing, that spot in your hand and be like, what is that? And go into a panic about it. You have to make a doctor's appointment and wait. But like, it's socially, we're not allowed to be. It's like basically sports events and horror movies, the only place you're allowed to scream where it's socially acceptable. So like when you go through that drama of a football game, it's not just that you're watching your favorite team. It's that you're releasing all of these feelings of like whatever else is going on in your life. And it's that exhaustion. It's like a roller coaster ride. So I think that thinking of the thoughts, it's always, you know, like when you grow up in the safest city, you're thinking like, what if I could lose all of this? What's the worst thing that could happen? So you can't let that paralyze you. You have two choices. You can either go, okay, that's not going to happen, or am I going to turn, you can like let it stop you and never leave your house again. Or you can go, okay, that's a thought. I'm afraid of it, moving on. Or you can say, let me turn this into something creative. And I just chose the third thing. I loved horror movies. I love scary movies so much. I always looked at them like magic tricks. Like when I see a decapitation or an eye being stabbed out and it gets, you go, ah, like I just love that feeling. Not in real life, but in movies, it was my favorite thing in the world. And I kept doing it. I mean, that's why, like, you know, with My Possessed Pet, people are like, why would you do a show like that? You know, why would you make that show? You made Hostel, you made this. And I'm like, I like it. You know, I had the idea and it's an idea that I kept thinking about. So you do it and you put it out. I'm doing other stuff. I'm doing Urban Legend, the TV series. It's going to start premiering on Friday. I'm not sure when this is dropping, but it's going to be on Friday the 28th on Travel Channel. But I loved Urban Legends growing up. I was so obsessed with, you know, waking up in the bathtub full of ice with the kidneys and the scuba diver and the tree and the white. Like I grew up like really into Urban Legends. So when the opportunity, they said, we're not going to continue the movies, but we want to continue the franchise as a TV series. I was like, I'll do it. I'll take it, you know? So I'm producing that. So that's going to be on Discovery and Travel Channel. Or, you know, there's this VR project that I have in the metaverse with Vanessa Hudgens called Trick or Treat. They said, hey, do you want to do a VR? We want a Halloween short. I was like, I have an idea. I'd love to do something in VR. And just, it's a new medium. Like, I don't know what that's like. There's no rules yet. There's no rules for horror movies in VR. So why not try and create some and break new ground? So for me, I like to approach it sort of the same, with the same level of enthusiasm that I had when I was a kid, but with kind of the mastery you have of having done it for 20 years. But I also like to, you know, I know I have a long-winded answer, but it's like, I like to keep things exciting and I like to try new stuff. And, you know, in horror, it's very easy to repeat yourself, which is why after Green Inferno, I did Knock Knock. I was like, I just need one drop of blood. I got to do a movie with no blood. Or doing House of the Clock in its Walls, I need a kids movie. I want to show that I can be scary and get a movie that my brother's kids and the children can enjoy, so they get into horror, like a gateway drug movie. So I really, you know, I think it's really healthy. And a lot of people tell me, like, I think of all these sick thoughts. You know, there's one thing to think of it and turn into Jeffrey Dahmer and you're actually eating people. But most of the people I've known in horror that get it out, Rob Zombie and, you know, Jordan Peele or Quentin, like they're really the nicest people. The people that are the monsters are making the, you know, family friendly movies. They're so desperate to appear wholesome. The people that are totally, like Wes Craven was a meditator, like Toby Hooper was the sweetest guy. Like the people that traumatized me in my childhood were just generally incredibly nice, very kind of socially conscious, just like nice people.
Yeah.
Oh, just as a horror movie creator and director, what are your thoughts on the jump scare? And do you find that it's more of a, because I love the concept of horror movies, but the jump scares just always made me not try to watch it. Like growing up, I wasn't that big of a fan of horror movies. And also, you know, I got nightmares a lot. But then today, like I go through a lot of Wikipedias and read a lot of plots of horror movies, and I find it quite entertaining. But just like the whole jump scare aspect always kind of, you know, made me sort of avoid them. But in your experience, is the jump scare, do you personally enjoy the jump scare where it's just like pure adrenaline, something happens, jumps out at you, or do you prefer doing it like longer, more insidious scares through that sort of pop out in longer term in the plot of the movie?
Well, that's a great question. And I think it really, determines it's like, what's an ingredient for a joke? That's like there's no, you sort of know, but you can't really distill it down to one thing. Does it have to be inappropriate, a little racy? Like what are the things that make you laugh? The thing about a jump scare, like a laugh, is that it's a truly involuntary response. Like that. And when it's earned, when it's like someone gets you, it can be a great release because it's basically like you're like a carnival barker and you got the audience. And after a jump scare, everyone laughs. It's like, oh, you got me. If you do it again, people are like, oh, you don't have any other tricks? And you do it like 3 times. It's like, oh, you're insecure. It's like you can sense that the filmmakers are out of ideas. So I noticed this in Cabin Fever. I was so worried that I was going to lose the audience. I put in a jump and I did a couple of them. And then I did them at the end. I'm like, we went too long without a scare. I'll throw in a jump. And I watched the movie in a theater and I was like, I overdid it. I think I had 4 or 5 jump scares. So in Hostel, I don't know if I had any or maybe 1, but I tried to do no jump scares in Hostel because I was like, has to be about tension and psychology and building things up and, dread. I was much more into building the sense of dread. And there's nothing that happens scary kind of for the first 45 minutes of the movie. So what I noticed was people were like, you have to have a scare every 10 minutes. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, just let the audience start to worry. Why hasn't this director scared me yet? What's going on? Mm-hmm. Whatever they're holding back must be so terrifying that annoyance and irritation turns into dread and patience. And you can tell when you're in the hands of a really good director. Like, I watched that TV show Severance, and for the first 2 episodes, it didn't click in, but it was so good. I was like, something's going on, and whatever they're holding back is so good that I've got to do it. And by episode 3, I was hooked. By the end, I was like, this is the best TV show I've seen. It's incredible. So I think that there's, you want to feel like the director's confident in what they're doing and that you're at the hands of a madman. Like when I watched Last House on the Left and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Cannibal Holocaust, I was like, whoever directed this clearly is in prison right now because like lunatics made this movie. You want a little bit of that feeling with the audience. But I think if you overdo it with a jump scare, you lose your audience because it's annoying. It gives you a headache. It's like a fire explosion at a concert. It's awesome when it happens, but like 3 or 4 times you get a headache. It's like a gunshot's going to make everyone jump. But if you keep doing it over and over, you give a headache. So for me, I think that the jump scare can be really fun, but it's got to be earned and you can't overdo it.
Yeah. So what are the ingredients? If you're writing a jump scare, what does that look like in a screenplay?
Gosh, it's really hard because you can't go, you can't go, and this you like turn around and they're right there. You usually do like a ... and then a space, and then all caps. He's right behind them in the mirror, mm-hmm. He like turns the corner. Like, but the truth is it's misdirection. It's like what magicians do. They're like, look over here, and then something else is coming that way. You're telling the audience this is coming. As soon as you turn back, the person's, the ghoul is right there in your face. So it's just, it's one of those things where writing, when you're writing a novel, you can write it scary. You get a lot more words on the page. If you write a script and it's got too much like paragraphs, people are like, I don't want, no one in Hollywood wants to read. They're like, what's my line? How much dialogue? The first thing to do is they're like, how many pages is this thing? How much time is it going to take me to read it? Can someone else read it and tell me if it's good? So, I've found that my films are always play better than they read. And a lot of the times people will read the script and go, what the hell is this? Nobody wants to see a movie about this. That's how, or like you can't, the number one reaction when people read my scripts, they go, you can't do that. No way. No way. No one will release that. No one will see it. You'll get canceled, all that stuff. That's when I'm like, okay, this is going to be good. Like when people read it and have that kind of reaction that it's like dangerous to even think about making it. That's when I go, okay, that's when I lean into it. I go, all right, here we go.
I still think you're fucked up for the scene in Hostel with the eyeball. That fucked me for a long time. I still think about that. I don't get that scared during scary movies, but I'm curious from your perspective, is there a movie that you've watched that affected you so deeply on a scary level that it stayed with you for longer than most of the others that you've seen? Like what's the one scariest movie, I guess, in your opinion, of all time?
Well, it's interesting because scares are like, the haunted house is never scary the second time through. So you're never going to be as purely scared as the very first time you saw a movie. So a lot of times people be like, that's the scariest movie I've ever seen. They go back and rewatch and they go, wasn't as scary as I remember. Whereas like comedies, I can watch Caddyshack over and over and over, and it'll always get funnier. Dramas, I can enjoy stuff, but horror movies, they lose the very thing you're there for, is the scare and the potency of that scare. It's like a cologne that like dissipates every single time. But you see other things kind of rise to the surface. But I always judge a scary movie by how scared was I the very first time I saw it. And The Exorcist traumatized me. I was 6 when I saw it, which is way too young. And I thought I was going to get possessed by the devil. I thought it was like under my bed. I could picture like the devil coming up from hell because it was in her bedroom. It's like there was no way to stop it. So I was so scared that was going to happen to me. And then Alien I saw when I was 8 years old, and I threw up in the theater. I was so nervous I threw up. And that started trending me vomiting in movies, which was the whole thing. Because my parents banned me from seeing horror movies because I kept puking in all of them in the theater. But Alien also made me want to be a director. I mean, I was 8. It was like before anyone was into that. I was like, it said produced by, and I said, what does the productor do? And my dad's like, that's a producer. He raises the money. And then it said directed by Ridley Scott. And I was like, what does the director do? He said, well, the director gets to spend the money and tell everybody what to do. I'm like, I want to do that. And then I remember Kubrick's movie said produced and directed by. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So like at your bar mitzvah, the rabbi's like, you have to announce what you want to do. And I said, I'm going to be a producer director. And he's like, well, which is it? I said, it's both. He goes, why do you want to be both? I go, because that's the only way to retain control of your cut. I mean, I was 12 and the rabbi's like, yeah, I don't know what you just said, kid, but I'm going to, whatever. So, those movies like Evil Dead traumatized me, Nightmare on Elm Street. So you go back now and you watch them and they're not as scary. Like I went to see The Exorcist in the theater and people were laughing because they're smoking in the hospitals. It's like, Ms. McLean, Ms. McNeil, we have a problem with your daughter. It's like, doctor, what's wrong with my daughter? It's like, let me tell you about your daughter. And like people, you can't even hear what they were saying because the concept of doctors just lighting up a cigarette in the hospital hallway as soon as they walk out of the operating room is just so comedic. So I remember my mom telling me, she's like, the only movie I won't allow you to watch is House of Wax, because she had seen it when she was 8 and it traumatized her. And I watched it. It was like Vincent Price, and how is this scary? So I think we're all kind of victims of stuff that we see in our own childhood and affects you at different times in your life.
So wait, go back to the puking during horror movies thing. That's fascinating to me that you chose a career path in a genre that made you physically ill because you had
physically
an actual reaction to how scared you were watching these movies. How long did that last? Like, when did you stop puking from horror movies?
I stopped at Raiders of the Lost Ark. It started when I was like 8 in Alien. And then I puked in John Badham's Dracula. I puked in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The big one was I had a running vomit in Outland with heads. I was running down the aisles of the Chestnut Hill Cinema and it roped like over 5 people. My mom followed me down. She was like, no more horror movies, no more. And then Raiders came out when I was like 10 and everyone's talking about Raiders, but you couldn't see it because my brother's like, yeah, faces melt. My mom's like, you're going to puke. And I went and I saw it and I was fine. I came out, I was like, I didn't puke. And from there I started, for my birthday or bar mitzvah or whatever, I wanted liquid latex. I started reading Dick Smith's makeup book, and I was watching pieces. I was just like, what's the most hardcore thing I can watch? And then I would deconstruct how did they do it. And then I wanted to like film deaths and throat slits and scalpings. I was watching Maniac, and then it just didn't affect me. I just saw it as a magic trick. And it's interesting. I had my brain scanned for Discovery years ago, and they found out that like they showed me imagery. Like they really did this full thing to see which part of my brain activates at what, and my frontal lobe shuts off. Like I train myself to shut off violent imagery. Like I can't process it because I get too emotionally affected by it. Not that if I saw someone get shot, I wouldn't care, but that there is like a weird defense mechanism that my brain developed from horror movies that I can watch this stuff in a way that other people can't, because literally my frontal lobe will shut when I see something too violent. Won't even let me like process it emotionally.
Shout out to your parents for continuing to take you to go see horror movies after like the first 3 times you puked. It's like,
right?
Yeah, but
my
I mean,
parents are great.
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes the things that scare us the most, that we're most uncomfortable with, end up becoming the things that we're most passionate about and the things that we care about more later on in life because you're naturally
I was terrified of sharks. My biggest fear is being eaten by a shark. And then I went diving with them and realized they were like dogs and had personalities. And now we're killing all of them. I made a documentary about it called Finn that's on Discovery Plus, which highly recommend if you're interested watching. I tried to make it watchable, but basically sharks kill from bites between 6 and 12 people a year. And we're killing now. The number might be as high as 250 million a year.
Shit,
and it's vaccines, it's soup. Like they're going to be gone in 10 to 15 years. They won't be able to repopulate. It takes 11 years for them to reach sexual maturity. They have like 7 or 8 pups. We're just wiping them out, like 18, 20,000 an hour. And people are all like, it's fishing, it's legal. It's like, it's really terrible. So, and they keep the ocean clean. They basically are the doctors of the sea. So these creatures that I was so terrified of, which are great whites and hammerheads and tiger sharks, now I'm like passionately defending and speaking up for them.
Big
so yeah,
T,
you're right.
Big T, do you have a question?
Yeah. Is there something you have ever wanted to put in a movie that either yourself or someone else was like, that's too fucked up, we can't do that?
Yeah, but I've gotten to do it every time. I've never backed down on it. And my argument is this. I go, I don't know. I go, let's try it. I go, why don't we show it to an audience? Because for me, the test is, do you want to keep watching the movie? If that's the test, it's not my taste. It's not, I'm trying to be the goriest person alive. It's not, I'm trying to be outgross everybody. Is it just not fun anymore? Like, does it cross a line? Like they say that, I always say like audiences want to have their asses kicked, but they don't want to be kicked in the balls. And that's not a good fit. It's fun when some movie kicks your ass, but when you like love a kid and then they like slit the kid's throat and it's over. And I had that thing. I did that at the end of Hostel, where basically, you know, there was like a kid and he was like screaming and I basically slit a child's throat at the end of the movie. And the guy from the studio is like, well, why don't we do another ending where he kills the bad guy instead of an innocent child? And I go, and I was so concerned with my reputation and being like so hardcore. I can do the scariest move, the most fucked up ending ever. And I go, all right. And I shot the ending and the audience went crazy for it. And they got scared in a different way, because what it made was it made the audience complicit in the violence. All the stuff in 45-minute mark when Josh is being killed and you can hear a pin drop at the end, the audience was rabidly cheering for violence. And that had a residual effect of, well, we're all capable of this. There's something in our DNA that everyone is capable of cheering for violence as entertainment, as opposed to, look, Eli's the darkest director, haha. Like, I just thought they're right. Like, but it wasn't, instead of being combative and saying, you know, fuck you, you're an idiot, I'm the artist, blah, 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 blah. I was like, all right, let's try it. I don't know. And we showed both movies to both audiences. And I actually found that the reshoot was the correct ending. And I remember talking to Quentin and I was like, they want me to change it. And he goes, Eli, did you ever consider the possibility? I'm just saying this, I don't know. Did you ever consider the possibility that maybe there is a better ending? And I went, no. He goes, well, maybe you should think about it. Maybe you'll come up with something better. And I was like, huh, all right. And so, yeah, I've been in that situation, but usually you do a bake off where my argument is always like, you know what? Like shooting the drug dealer in Death Wish. People were like, you can't do this. You can't do this. I go, okay, well, we're going to shoot it and let's show it to an audience. And if the audience rejects it, we'll know overwhelmingly. But if the audience went crazy for it, it was the highest testing movie MGM ever had. So it's just like, it's things like that where you just, it's easier if you don't make it a artist versus studio or, you know, director versus financier. You just go like the gun joke in Cabin Fever. People were like, you can't do this. You can't do this. And I said, let's watch it with an audience. If the audience wholesale rejects it, we'll take it out. But I think it's going to work. And it did. So usually when you have the attitude of let's try, and if it doesn't work, I'll take it out, people are very willing to go with you. When you're combative and abrasive and you're like challenge and butt heads, that's when you don't get your way.
All right. Awesome. Yep. Billy, you have
Probably my last question. Something I was very interested and curious about was when you're filming a horror movie, especially in a remote location, like the Green Inferno, how difficult was it dealing with the location, the people at the location? And it sounds like the shoot might have been a little difficult because you're dealing with so many, the climate, you know, the heat, and just being in the middle of the jungle. Like, how difficult is it to shoot on those locations?
It's extremely difficult, but that's part of the fun of the challenge is, you know, you're going for some Werner Herzog experience like Fitzcarraldo or Aguirre, the Wrath of God. It was literally farther than, I found out that Herzog had shot Aguirre near there and I went farther. So I was like, I want to be farther than Herzog, like the farthest anyone had taken a film crew. And it's hard, you know, you're in 110 degree heat with the villagers who've never seen a camera before. And they were farmers and super nice. I mean, you're getting stuff that looks like nothing else, but the challenge of getting there, I mean, there was a flood in the Andes Mountains 2 days away from where we were, but the river rose So we were like in these boats that were like spinning. I mean, the boats that are in the movie we used to get to and from the set. It was waking up at 5 a.m, driving an hour to the river in Chazutas, getting in the boat in Chazutas and going to Kayanayaku for an hour and a half. I mean, some days were beautiful, but when that river rose and the boats almost flipped, I thought, this is it. This is going to be like that Twilight Zone moment where you kill everyone. And then the body parts, we couldn't ship body parts into Peru. Like customs took all of the eyeballs and stuff and the guts, because I guess shipping body parts into Peru is a problem. And so we sent all this stuff in, but we couldn't get any of it. So we had to go to the supermarket and get like grapes and eyeballs and just sort of improvise with a lot of things. But, you know, it's directing. You know, Kubrick said directing is having a vision and compromising at 100%. It's like, how good of an improv jazz musician are you? Because it basically what makes you a good director is what you can pull off when literally everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
What do you got?
And how do you communicate, like you're doing horror, and how do you sort of convey to especially the villagers like what exactly is happening in when directing? Because like if you're like showing graphic depictions of people getting eaten and all these scenes that are so violent, and you have like, you know, children around, like how do you ensure that, you know, people don't get the wrong idea? Like how does that?
It's a very good question. And we had a Peruvian producer. You do with locals, you have local producers. So you have someone Peruvian that went to the village with a generator, a television, and a DVD player. And they called me and they said, we got permission from all 300 people in the village gathered around the television and the DVD player and the generator to watch the movie. And they said, we got permission. And I went, great. What'd you show them? Like E.T., Wizard of Oz. They said, Cannibal Holocaust. And I was like, that's a movie with like a hand abortion. I mean, dicks being cut off. Like that movie is the fucking mother of all cannibal films. And I said, how could you show like children? I have photos of it. Like, and they go, no, don't worry. They thought it was a comedy. Like they didn't know, like the movie to them was just like, it was all a joke. They thought it was hilarious. Like they know what stories are.
Yeah.
They tell stories. They know what theater is like. They know how to make up a story, and they go, this is make believe. And everyone loved it. And they laughed. They weren't like corrupted by some outside opinion. They thought it was hilarious. But I said, why would you show Cannibal Holocaust? They go, we didn't want to show them Wizard of Oz. And then you show up with the heads on the spikes. So what you get is kids playing soccer with the heads, playing with the guts. Like they loved it. The villagers had so much fun. And so did the actors. And, you know, you just want it to be real. I go, okay, now you're running over the hill and you love their hair. Like everybody wants to touch their hair. You've never seen blonde hair before. And I remember before the take, like the guys pulling the kids out of the canoes, they were like, is it okay? No, the actors like, no, really do it. Like we would do it. They're like, rah! And then we'd yell cut, and we'd all be like hugging and laughing. I mean, the first day that we were about to shoot, it was like 100 degrees with the heads on the spikes, 100 villagers coming over the thing. All the kids are tied up in the canoes and like they're starting to drift out into the river. We got to shoot. And these pontoon boats pull up and they're filled with Christian missionaries. And they start like, and they're like there to convert villages. And they're like, the devil is here. Like we found it. Like there's heads on spikes. Those kids tied up. Like we actually found and they start singing songs about Jesus. And then the producers, and of course I want to film all of it. Yeah. And they're like, no, Eli, this is cultural. Like you got to back the fuck up and shut up and let us handle it. And they went out and they were like a mix from Peru and a super church in Texas. And they were like, it's actually Eli Roth is here making a horror movie. And they were so mad. They wanted to disrupt the shooting, but luckily it was so hot. The sun took care of it for the Sunday left, but it was like being Teamsters outside honking. So, you know, that's kind of the fun. And, you know, whenever you go on location, it's always an adventure. You never know what you're going to get, but that's where the good stuff is.
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
I love. They probably went back to Texas and they were like telling stories to their parishioners, being like,
yeah,
we encountered Satan in the jungle, and you know what? Yet we pressed on, and we got a couple conversions while we were down there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, for sure. For sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. You can find it right now on Discovery Plus. It's Eli Roth Presents My Possessed Pet. And I think what it speaks to
Urban Legend. Yeah. Urban Legend is starting Friday the 28th. It's really fun. It's on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. It's anthology. It's like Twilight Zone. They're so much fun. The directors did amazing jobs. They're really scary.
That's very cool. Yeah, I'm a fan of urban legends. I always like the moment when I tell somebody about an urban legend and you see that look in their eyes where they're like, oh shit, I've actually told people that this happened to a friend of mine. Where you like,
of course,
you shatter that illusion that they're the ones that had like a really great story, you know?
Yeah, well, it's got to be crazy enough that like there's no way, but just real enough. It's like, well, that could actually happen.
Yeah.
It's got to be the story that someone's brother swears he knows a guy who swears that it happened to them. That's sort of the qualification for it.
They stole the suitcase, and inside the suitcase was actually a dead dog. You know that one?
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Sewer gator.
Yeah, the sewer gator.
Because they're actually
Sewer
were people.
gator.
Flushing
Yeah,
down.
we did the scuba diver in the tree with a couple's hiking. They look up and like the guy was scuba diving got scooped up by the helicopter to put out a forest fire and dumped in the tree. That's when we do. They're hilarious.
Well, check it out on Travel Channel. This urban legend. It's coming out Friday, October 28th, and it's going to be streaming on Discovery Plus, and My Possessed Pet as well as streaming on Discovery Plus. Eli Roth.
Awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys. Good talking to you.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
To you. Have a good one. Eli Roth was brought to you by Ridge Wallet. Ridge Wallet is an ultra slim minimalist wallet. It holds up to 12 cards. Plus, it's got room for cash. Guess what I've got right now? I've got my Ridge Wallet, and I've got all my stuff in there. I've got all my IDs, my cards. I use Ridge Wallet every single day. You want to know why I use it? It's because it's made with RFID blocking technology that protects you from digital pickpocketers. It secures anywhere from... Let's see, this looks like maybe up to a dozen cards in this one. This is a nice Ridge wallet. They also have the key case. You can fit 2 to 6 keys in there. It organizes your keys in a compact silhouette. It folds out for easy access. There's 6 colors and styles. You got carbon fiber, burnt titanium. I've got all my cards in this Ridge wallet because people can't hack into them using RFID technology. It's a very convenient, easy to use wallet. Check out their site. Use the code MACRO for 10% off your order right now. That's promo code MACRO, 10% off your order with Ridge Wallet. All right, let's get into our candy power rankings. Just get that shit out before everybody else does. Also, Billy, yeah, you got drunk. Chris Long got you drunk. Just accept
He bought
it.
for the drinks.
And also,
that does technically count as
he got you. He clearly got you drunk. And also, Billy, you said that you had to record literally less than 12 hours later. I don't know if you know how clocks work.
Well, I had to start watching football less than 12 hours.
You had to start watching football less than 12 hours after that. Yes, that part is true.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yes, so the recording came much later.
Yeah,
But you had to start watching football.
But he
Right,
couldn't
well, I had to
record
start-
without watching, so that is part of it.
what I meant. People know what I'm saying.
My client,
Thank you.
he had to watch football in order to record. It is therefore part of the recording process, which did start 12 hours after the fact.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So Billy had Billy.
No, it got weird. It was starting to like, I don't know. It was fun. It was fun as
maybe
fuck.
just let's abort this sentence right now.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Billy's Saturday night. That should be actually a segment. How was your Saturday with Billy?
I like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was like a 2-parter. We had it in the ad, and then we just came back from the interview with it.
Yep.
Oh,
Circle
word.
of life. Okay, so candy. Let's talk candy. Let's all nominate candies.
Should we do like our top 3, or should we do a draft?
Because like I hate when we have to like do like popularity contest type. Like I want to hear what your guys' favorite candy is.
All right, I like that. So PFT
One chocolate, one non-chocolate.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that.
Yes.
Top 3. What would you put in your bag?
Oh yeah, but like chocolate and candy are kind of different.
What?
Just like
no, chocolate
No.
is candy.
no.
But they're
Is a
different.
Hershey's bar not candy to you?
No,
Yes,
no,
they
yeah,
are.
it's-
But
but
chocolate
there's like
and
a
non-chocolate candy are you need to delineate.
It's like it's like dessert versus like soda.
It's called a
What?
candy bar.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No,
It's
that was
ki-
bad. But
If you have a pillowcase, what are the 3 candies you want in your bag?
Okay, that's
Okay,
a good
that's
way
good.
of looking at
That's
it. Like
fine.
what am I sorting through
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get to my first selection?
Right. What are you hiding from your parents?
What are you not trading with your friends?
I've got mine:
Go ahead, Big T.
sour Skittles, Kit Kat, Reese's.
Sour Skittles is a bad one,
I
but
haven't
okay.
had
Why?
sour
No, I like sour
Skittles.
Why? They're
The
elite.
Skittles are just trash.
No, bad take.
I could see that.
I like sour Skittles.
I haven't had sour Skittles.
I was not going to think about that because I don't think anybody hands out sour Skittles.
I know
for
they're hard to find.
I'm kind of old school with it. I like a nice Milky Way.
Yep.
Milky Way dark specifically.
Mhm.
I like the dark chocolate. What's that smirk, Billy? Why are you smirking? You got that's such a fucking smirk you've got. Why?
Why am I allowed? Am I not allowed to smirk?
Why are you smirking though? It's distracting.
What?
The smirk that Billy has is like, oh well, there's a study that I just read on Reddit that says like if you like Milky Way, you're low-key gay.
No, I wasn't reacting to what you were saying.
Okay.
Sometimes I say jokes in my head and make myself laugh.
Well, you should say them out loud on the podcast that you're doing.
But I didn't want to interrupt you.
I appreciate that. So Milky Way, dark. Are you smirking?
Just say it. I'm pre-bonking him.
No. What?
I don't know.
Okay, Milky Way dark is my 1-1, I believe. My second, I like Twix.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got the candy crunch. It's got the caramel in there. It's like an upgraded Kit Kat is the way I look at it, Twix. And then third, I'm going to go with Sour Patch Kids. Kind of along the same lines as the Sour Skittles, but Sour Patch Kids I prefer.
I used to be big into Sour Patch Kids. They haven't done it for me recently.
They can get chewy sometimes.
Yeah.
Sour Patch Watermelon is where it's at.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the Sour Warheads?
No, too
Still
sour.
That's too
much.
much. That's too much of an experience.
It's a novelty, yeah.
Yeah.
It hurts like the back of your your
Yeah,
jowls.
I'm not a fan of the sour. Sensitive palate, I guess. I'd go Crunch Bar, Reese's, gummy candies.
What is
So-
That's a whole category.
I know, but like, what do we really
Swedish
care?
Fish?
The different, no, but like I'm talking about like gummy worms, gummy bears, all those gummies that are just in different.
Just say gummy bears.
Yeah, well, gummy worms are also good.
Which one's better?
The worms.
Yeah, okay, so
Oh.
gummy
Yeah.
worms. That's
Gummy
your
worms.
Crunch Bar also slept on.
Crunch Bar is amazing.
Very slept on.
especially Bunch of Crunches.
100 grand bar too.
third. Ooh,
That's
good.
my 1-1.
A Crunch
100
Bar, you go to the 7-Eleven, you get Gatorades, like in a water and a Crunch Bar before practice. That bumps.
So 100 grand, that is a slept on one. What's in the 100 grand again?
It's chocolate on the outside and then a Rice Krispie layer, rice layer, and then a whole caramel layer, and then a cookie similar to a Twix.
Okay.
That's my 1-1. And if you get a big 100 grand, it's just two small 100 grands. And I kind of like that trickery where it's like you get a kind of 2-in-1 rather
Yeah.
than one long 100 grand.
It's kind of tricky to say though. It's like I have two 100. I have 200 grands here.
But I don't. When you say 100, or wait, now I'm getting tripped up. When I refer to the candy, I say 100 grands. You don't say like a 100 grand, in my opinion. You just say 100 grand.
I have 100 grand.
Yeah, I'm about to eat 100 grand. Those are my 1-1. Those
Okay.
are my favorite candy of all time.
I like those.
And then I'm gonna go Twix too, I think. And then now I feel like I'm kind of recycling other people's answers. Twix, and then 3 is either watermelon Sour Patch or sour gummy worms. Specifically sour.
You guys all missed so hard.
What?
What?
You guys. So I
Here
mean,
comes a bad take.
no. The 1 and 2 are Reese's and Kit Kat. They're just
Kit Kats
Reese's
are
is
really
great.
they're Reese's is elite. That's like it's probably number 1. You guys miss peanut M&Ms.
good. Ew.
I like
Gross.
peanut butter M&Ms.
Yeah.
Those are good, but peanut M&Ms.
So you like
slap.
the peanut, you like the nut.
Yeah. Well, all right, Billy, relax.
No, but
yeah.
I'm just saying you like the crunch of the nut. in
I
the
think a peanut
butter.
M&M in the refrigerator, you just leave it there for like, maybe a couple
A
hours.
single peanut.
Elite. No, like the package.
Okay.
I think peanut M&Ms
But
are elite.
can we agree that there's certain candies that are almost analogous?
What do you mean?
Kit Kat, Crunch Bar, I think are almost analogous.
Mm-mm.
they're very
No,
different.
different.
No, it's very Crunch Bar is very thin.
But
Compared to the-
same,
Yeah.
same concept, chocolate with the crunch.
No, it's different.
Kit Kat's also all about the experience as well. It comes with 4. You split them apart.
Okay, but all intents and purposes, I think that it's
They may have similar ingredients.
right, but I think it's kind of the same. I almost like I'm indifferent to the Kit Kat versus Crunch Bar. I
Oh,
look
no.
at them almost the same to eat.
Their ratios are completely different.
Right, but I don't think it's enough to like differentiate. Like, would you put something? Let's say we're ranking Crunch Bar, Kit Kat, Twizzlers.
Oh,
Go-
Twizzlers.
I love
Twizzlers are
Twizzlers.
good.
I love Twizzlers.
Twizzler bites.
I also think Snickers deserves an honorable mention.
Yeah.
I'm not a
honestly,
big Snickers girl.
So there's some candy bars that just do too much,
Snickers
and
is one.
like I'm just like, yo,
Also, a
That's-
Take 5 does too much. I'll
You
say
ever-
that.
Like,
You ever
like
take
a
a
Milky
Twizzler?
Way also does it do too much.
And make it a straw.
Yeah, you bite both ends
Yeah,
off
yeah.
and make it a
Yeah.
straw.
And then
Of course.
that's what I do in the movie theaters, and I drink the big Cokes with a big thing of Twizzlers, and I
Yeah.
bite both sides and just use the Twizzlers as the straw for the Coke.
it's a great time.
Also, I've never practiced this, but apparently Twizzlers have so much gluten in them. If you put Twizzlers in the oven, they turn into like almost like a mini loaf of bread. That may be a dumb take on my part.
That you can bake Twizzlers into bread.
Not bread, but
Like
like a little,
microwave them?
almost like a cupcake.
Sounds like a TikTok thing.
Yeah.
Not even
You may
TikTok.
have gotten
For
Billy.
sure.
Yeah.
I didn't. That's
Actually,
like
I believe it, but like
that doesn't make me.
Do you
feel
guys remember the
better.
mini? You guys remember the mini M&Ms that came in the tube?
Ooh, those are
Those
the
are
best
good.
M&Ms.
Yeah.
Those
Do they
taste
still
the
make
best.
those?
I think so.
Yeah, you can get them at the Walmart.
You could eat that whole tube in just one.
Oh, dude, those were
Swig.
goated.
dude, we
Yeah.
need to get some candy.
Go to
right
the
now.
go to the M&M
Now I wanna
store.
go get-
I just untapped something for Big T. You should
Y'all-
have seen the way he looked at me when
Y'all
I
want to
said
go
that.
downstairs, get some candy?
Yeah, can
Yeah.
we go get some candy and start recording after we get candy? Like, actually, let's get like a
No, let's
No, 'cause
finish
then
the
it's gonna be
show.
like
Let's finish the
ASMR
show.
us eating.
yeah, but then people are gonna be like, oh,
No, you
I
got to
want
pay
candy.
extra for that.
People are gonna enjoy us.
Munchin.
Yeah, but now I want candy. Fuck.
We can go get candy.
I have a
I'm on a
basketball
diet. No, we're doing.
I have a basketball game later.
Christmas
I
apps,
can
guys.
Carbo Lab.
We do need to update on the Christmas apps.
I
How's
had a-
everyone
I had
doing?
a salad.
I'm just losing weight.
Isn't that what you want?
Yeah, but like I'm all, like
I went to the gym the other day.
Whoa.
I'm coming back from many injuries right now.
yeah. How is that?
It's ever since Billy shot me up with
And
research chemicals.
you've been doing better.
I don't know. I did arm curls the other day for the first time in a while.
How'd
It's
that
still a
feel?
little bit sore, so I don't think I'm 100% yet. But yeah, I'm going to hit the gym again today. By Christmas time, I will have at least one ab, maybe two,
The line.
maybe two abs.
What are any of you in shape, or are any of you on track to get the V by Christmas?
Yeah,
What?
You're gonna have the V,
like the deep V.
the dick V,
Yeah.
Billy.
Yeah, but I'm working on the lower. Like that's never really goes away. It's the covering on the abs.
It's been a couple years since I had the V. I'm not.
'Cause that's way easier for you guys to get than a girl.
Yes,
And I mean abs in general, but
I don't think I'm not on track for that. But maybe by the summer.
Can we
If
do
I
Easter
stopped
V?
drinking beer, and all alcohol for 2 weeks, I would be shredded.
That's so sick.
that makes
Automatic.
me
Dude,
so.
you drink so much, Billy.
No, it's just like
That's
that's
awesome.
just how it works.
No, that's so fucking cool.
It's fire.
Yeah,
That makes me
but like
so
I
mad.
can't.
But you can't because like
That's
fucking
not
beer.
chill.
Like you want to drink beers over the boys on weekends. Damn, fuck. Yo, if I didn't drink beer, I'd be like a genius.
I'd be a feral animal. It's the only thing keeping me domesticated.
If I stopped drinking beer, I would weigh 110 pounds and I would be
No, I would
1%
be. I'd
body
actually
fat.
be higher weight because I'd have more muscle mass.
Okay. All right, so let's do a graphic real quick. Best Halloween candies. 1, candy corn. 2,
Should we do a bait one where
Yeah.
we put
Yeah,
a terrible
that's-
Of
thing?
course.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
1, candy corn.
Uh,
2.
But that's not.
Tootsie Rolls.
It's not
Wow.
number
I love
one.
these.
But candy corn is good.
I also love
no
Tootsie
candy
Rolls.
corns too. Tootsie rolls are.
Disgusting. That's what I'm
Tootsie Rolls
saying.
are
That's the
bad.
whole point of this.
Or let's
graph,
do like
Billy.
a wild, like a, or
Or
like
like a
a
wild
Wonka's. Not no, because I like those, but like a Wonka candy that everyone was like, what? Remember when Wonka came out with candies?
Yeah.
Those were cool.
What were
Nerds
those
Rope.
balls?
Everlasting Gobstopper.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. What? There's also a
Let's go.
Jawbreakers.
Mm.
Those are kind of nice though. Let's go number 1, candy corn.
Yeah, that just gets the people going.
Number
No.
2, Tootsie Rolls.
But people are.
And we'll go number 3.
like something really bad.
maybe
Black licorice.
Yeah, licorice. Number 4, Good and Plenty. How's that sound?
You gotta have a 5. You can't just do
Hot
4.
tamales.
Or do you want to do like
Yeah,
Mount-
5 hot tamales.
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are all,
Perfect. That's a good list.
It's all like old people food.
Yeah, that's a good list.
Candy.
Billy, why were you saying that whole time? No, what are people going to say about this list?
Because it almost seems too vanilla. It like we need one that's like that's like wait what the fuck that like elicits a reaction like when people are like top candies of Halloween,
You're not
candy
extreme
corn.
enough, dude.
Yeah,
Put Reese's at 3.
No.
You're
no.
saying I
that-
should get worse with it?
make it like one
Like one
good, but then one like
cyanide
really crazy.
capsules.
Yeah, or like
razor blades.
What are you asking me to do?
I don't know, I'm trying to figure it out. Like
Should we put one real thing in there to throw them off, or are you saying make it worse?
I'm saying
Circus peanuts.
I'm saying we're doing 4.
5.
I just did 5.
Okay, 4 real ones, then 1 like wild one where it's like, what?
Well, then that's not good. A troll.
Yeah,
then.
we're just gonna stick with this 5.
No,
Don't be mad.
but then
This
people
will
be like,
nope.
what's up with the
die has been cast.
what's up with the black licorice?
The die has been cast.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else you want to get into on macrodosing this week?
We missed Arian this week.
We did.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He got
sick.
Yeah, he got sick. His daughter got him sick. We should play the song again.
I was just gonna say I'll add it to the end of the episode instead of like the normal outro. It'll just be the knock knock.
Knock Knock, the song of the summer.
It's actually a banger. I was thinking we should do a music video for it,
Yeah.
With these kids.
like when we go to Texas.
It's a great song. It could become a Halloween anthem,
Yeah.
Mhm.
coast to coast. All right. So, in conclusion, somebody come to my house for Halloween because I'll give you Uncrustables. Kids.
Except for Big T, he doesn't want to see the air vents.
No, Big T doesn't want to. Big T wouldn't be caught dead in my poor apartment.
Yeah. No, I think I'm too poor to go over there.
Yeah, that's what it is.
He has the machine when you step in that automatically like shrink wraps your shoes.
Oh yeah.
You know that rich people have. I mean, it's pretty sick. Like,
Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, you know about this thing more than I do. Big
I
T.
went to.
don't play stupid.
I've never seen it.
You've got that in your
I went
house.
with Jersey Jerry to Tracy Morgan's house. He has it. Like we could not step on his floor until we did it.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Is it like skin tight, or is
Yeah, you put your foot on it and it heats the plastic and it wraps around your shoes.
It's like a Swiffer wet jet for your foot, basically.
He had all marble flooring. It was crazy.
This guy with a key to Gramercy Park acting like he doesn't know what the shoe thing is.
I've never seen or heard about the shoe thing ever.
Look it up. Look up like shoe wrap for house.
I will. Shoe wrap for house. I'm on it.
I just made kind of a niche, like you have to live in New York City joke to understand that. It makes me want to kill myself.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, I had no idea what Big T was even. Sounds like Big T is like low key wealthy.
Not even close.
Because
T, I
I don't
think-
know about all these rich people things.
He'll allow you to go into his apartment, but he'll just make you take like the help entrance, which is by the service elevator.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see.
That's how I got
You
in.
can see my butler's pantry. How about that?
Loves to play both sides.
Could you just wear a name tag while you're in there and a lanyard, and don't make eye contact with any of the other people in the building? Thanks.
You can't go in through the doorman entrance. You have to go in the back with the deliveries.
I'll have to hang out on the private roof deck.
I don't know
Away
what,
from the
what you
rest
think
of
my
the people.
apartment looks
He'll,
like.
he'll let you stay. You know those big water tanks that are on top of buildings?
Oh yeah.
So next to his outdoor patio, there's a kind of place you can stand on one of those.
Got
And,
it.
like that's where you go.
Yeah.
That's where I was.
No,
I
yeah,
mean-
I'll be confined to the outdoor space.
Big T
That's fine.
thinks I live in like the Great Gatsby. He thinks that he walks in, you've got a butler with a tray of champagne flutes. Welcome, sir, to East Egg.
East Egg.
I need to do a better job of being rich. I think that's what my problem is.
Apparently.
Yeah, no, I'm new money.
Yeah.
They look down on me. I'm like, what's her name? Kathy Bates on the Titanic.
Yeah.
Remember her?
Yeah.
She rocked.
Kathy Bates rocks.
Yeah. All right. We will see you guys next Tuesday on Nanodosing. We have a very special guest coming next week, actually. Big time guest. I'm very excited about him. He teaches me how to control Billy.
Perfect.
All right. We'll see you next week. Love you guys.